3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
To infinity and beyond.
He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show. Here's your host, Zach Gelb.
Live from the place you're not overly ostentatious studios of the Infinity Sports Network here in beautiful New York City, sitting on top of the 10th floor of 345 Hudson Street. Welcome on in to what is a Thursday edition of the Zach Gelb Show across all the great local Infinity Sports Network affiliates, Sirius XM Channel 375, the free Odyssey app, the iHeartRadio app, and also streaming live on YouTube. 888-710-4ISN is the number to jump on in. That's 888-710-4476. You could always get at me on Instagram, where I'm straight flexing, or via the good old cesspool of Twitter at Zach Gelb. That's ZACHGELB. We got Scarpacci here with us. We got Michael Sanford as well. Mike Sanford is going to join us, the former college football coach, at 4 p.m. Eastern time. So don't confuse Michael Sanford with Coach Michael Sanford. I know that could be a little bit confusing to some. So a whole lot to do today. We'll give you my college football predictions for the year. I'll tell you the 12 teams that I believe are going to make the college football playoffs. I'll give you a national championship pick. I will give you a Heisman Trophy pick at some point throughout the duration of the show. But we will start things off where we really left off yesterday's show. We had stink on Mark Schlereth. And I always love talking football with Mark Schlereth. There's two offensive linemen that used to play in the NFL that I, like former offensive linemen, that I love talking football with just because of their pure excitement for the game. And usually when you have an offensive lineman, they'll have a different take. And that's Brian Baldinger, and that's also Mark Schlereth. Those, to me, are the two former offensive linemen that just have a great excitement when they talk football. I also do enjoy our chats with Joe Thomas, but I don't think Joe Thomas is trying to be a media star. Mark Schlereth has had a very long media career, and those Baldy breakdowns are unbelievable, and he's been doing this for a long time. But we were talking to Mark Schlereth yesterday, and I didn't know what his answer was going to be. And I've just given my opinion, and this is what I kind of do in conversations and in interviews. Some people will just ask the guest, oh, what do you think should happen? And sometimes I'll give my opinion because it steers the conversation in that certain direction where it makes the guest either say to me, oh, Zach, I vehemently agree with your opinion, or I vehemently disagree, and you're an idiot, a moron, and a dope. Well, Mark Schlereth and I were in lockstep yesterday because when I look at the New York Football Giants, an organization that has been in the pit of misery for the last decade, and I understand, right, if you're a football fan, you go, okay, I don't have a small violin playing for the New York Football Giants, even though they've been embarrassing the last decade, because they have 4 Super Bowl championships, and in recent memory, they beat the Patriots in 2007. They beat also the Patriots in 2011 or 2012, whatever it was. And you've had 2 Super Bowls since 2007, plus 2 others. Detroit Lions fans, Buffalo Bills fans, Cleveland Browns fans don't want to hear the Sean Marashes of the world bitching and complaining about the state of the New York Giants. But here's the thing. I am not a huge fan of Jaxson Dart. I don't think Jaxson Dart is a great quarterback. When I ranked my quarterbacks in the draft process, I had Jaxson Dart either 4th or 5th. I forget where, but it was either 4 or 5. And I've been more negative about Jaxson Dart than positive. Because all throughout college, and he's played a lot in college when he was at Ole Miss, I was told Jaxson Dart's supposed to be this. Jaxson Dart's supposed to be that. Ole Miss is going to be a playoff team. And last year, I just wasn't blown away by Jaxson Dart. And there was one game in particular, which I've talked about at great length at this point, where at the end of the season, they still had a chance to make the college football playoff. He had multiple chances and got multiple opportunities to go win the game up against Florida. And he threw 2 hellacious interceptions. I think one actually, if memory serves me right, he threw 3 interceptions. One of them got called back because of a penalty. And then a few plays later, he threw another interception. So that to me was something where I go, okay, this is a culmination of a few years where I'm told Jaxson Dart is this, Jaxson Dart is that. And in every big moment, Jaxson Dart was Jackson Fart. Like, let's just be real. He was terrible. It was awful. Like, I'll never forget. I was watching that Florida game, Ole Miss, Florida, and I want to say it was at my niece's birthday party, and it was like a tea party, and I wasn't even invited to the party. It was supposed to be a girl party. You know, I think that's a little bit sexist if you ask me. But anyway, that's the way it was organized. However, my mom just had her hip replaced, and Bubby, as my niece Raquel calls my mother, had to get from point A to point B somehow. And I was being the good son, and I went home, and my dad was busy doing something. And my dad's not a Tea Party kind of guy, if I'm just being honest. And I said, all right, Mom, I'll take you there right off your hip replacement because Bubby could not miss Raquel's second birthday. So drive my mom there, and I say to my sister, do your tea party, do whatever, give me some food. I'll sit down on the couch, and I'm going to watch the football. Like, I'm very upfront with my family. If you expect me in September, October, November, December, January to do family events on Saturday and Sunday, I may go to the family event. I'm not going to be happy being at the family event, but I could be there. But if there's no TVs, don't invite me. If you expect me to be fully locked in on a college football Saturday or an NFL Sunday, and you want me to go to some tea party or someone's baby naming or someone's wedding or someone's bar mitzvah, or even if someone passes away, quite frankly, if you want me to go to that event and you want me to pay my respects, I got to have access to a television, right? I got to have access to the football because you want me in March, April, May, June, July, August. You want me to be Family Guy there? Sure. But Zach Gelb, when it's football season, right? When really next week starts, because nationally we do a ton of college football, and I know Week 0 fans, we got a good game this weekend. I'm looking forward to that Saturday, sitting down, doing nothing coming up on Saturday, because I will watch Iowa State and their matchup up against Kansas State. But for the most part, next week, once I go to Marash's house on that Saturday and we drink our faces off, we eat like we're a bunch of fat pigs, and we watch all the college football games that start out with Ohio State and Texas, leads into Thomas Castellanos running his mouth with Florida State up against Alabama, and then you have the nightcap, the Battle of Death Valley between Clemson and LSU. Once that Saturday hits, it takes a lot. It takes someone really special for me to go to a family event or go to a friends or family event. And if I'm going in that football season, there better be TVs. Like I told you right now, one of my close friends is getting married, and I'm not happy with him. In January, he's getting married conference championship weekend. Saturday is his wedding. I go, that's such a pain in the ass. Such a pain in the ass. Now, I know the conference championship games aren't until Sunday, but then you're all hungover from a wedding on Saturday. Sometimes I go to those games, and it's a giant pain to have any big-time celebrations or any big life events in football season. But that's just me. But anyway, where I was trying to get to this was that I'm looking at the New York Giants, and when I see Big Blue, the last decade, really outside of 1 year where Daniel Jones somehow got into the playoffs and somehow won a playoff game up against the Minnesota Vikings, who were a fraudulent team that year. I haven't heard from Scott in California in a while. Scott in California used to call me after every Vikings game and thought I was too critical. Scott actually may like my prediction on the Vikings this year, but I haven't heard from Scott in a while. By the way, you can call the show 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. But outside of that one run by the Giants, Daboll's first year as a coach, the Giants have been a laughingstock. And ever since Eli Manning walked out the door, they haven't had a quarterback that was their quarterback. And that was the next quarterback, the next franchise quarterback of the Giants. So Jaxson Dart, am I a big believer in him? No. But there have been quarterbacks before that I haven't been a big believer in. Sometimes they suck. Other times they prove me wrong, and I'll be the first person to raise my hand and say that I got it wrong. But when I look at Jaxson Dart, and I know it's a small sample size, I know the Giants play tonight up against the Patriots, and I am not a preseason guy. I hate the preseason. And you'll see some Jaxson Dart tonight, or I think you'll see some of Jaxson Dart tonight. I will actually tune in to Patriots and the Giants tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern. I have a lot of the TV docket. I'm off tomorrow. I'm playing a little golf tomorrow with my old man. And then I'm here 5 days next week. So you get me all 5 days next week. Then we're off Labor Day that Monday. Then outside of like a holiday here or there, I'm here to pretty much the end of football season. But I am intrigued to watch this Giants game tonight because of the fact of Jaxson Dart. And I'm not a Giant fan, but if I were a Giant fan, Jaxson Dart is the first excitement that you've had in a while. And he signifies hope and maybe bringing the Giants back to where the Giants should be. Doesn't mean it's going to happen. Once again, I've been a critic of Jaxson Dart. I would have drafted Shedeur Sanders over Jaxson Dart if I were the New York Football Giants. But I'm not Joe Shane. I'm not the Mara family. I'm not the Tisch family. I'm not Brian Daboll. They identified their guy in Jaxson Dart. We know Jaxson Dart is aggressive. We know Jaxson Dart is smart. And everyone keeps on telling me, oh, Jaxson Dart has to wait. You know, I did it with my football team last year. I took the bait. Oh, Drake May's not ready. Everyone tells me Drake May's not ready. They threw Drake May in September in garbage time up against the Jets. And then a few weeks later, I think it was week 6 or week 7, they started him up against, I think it was the Houston Texans. Did Drake May need to wait 4 or 5 weeks? No. And that's Drake May last year playing behind a god-awful offensive line and wide receivers that you couldn't even name one wide receiver that played for the New England Patriots last year. So he had nothing. And if Drake May could play the majority of the season last year, why can't Jaxson Dart? So also, I look at Jaxson Dart, and my opinion is Jaxson Dart should start. Start Dart. That's what it should be. He should start week 1. I know that the Giants said they're going to start Russell Wilson, but Russell Wilson does nothing for me. If this was Russell Wilson 6-7 years ago, I'm not saying this. But Russell Wilson now in the year of 2025 is an average or above average quarterback. He's a mentor. And I know some people will be like, oh, well, Patrick Mahomes waited a year. Oh, Lamar Jackson, he didn't get into the end of the season his first year. Oh, Josh Allen waited midway through year 1. Like, everyone tells me the same stuff. The last 2 years, though, we saw 2 horrible organizations, the Texans and the Commanders, change their football life around because they started C.J. Stroud, they started Jaden Daniels, not in ideal situations, but those quarterbacks were the guys. And if Jaxson Dart is the guy, it does not matter if you start him a year from now or at the end of the season or if you start him right now. If Jaxson Dart is that guy, he will be ready whenever you throw him on the field. And I don't think it means much, and I don't think there's a point to actually waiting on starting Jaxson Dart. If you had Alex Smith there in Kansas City with the playoff team, I wouldn't be saying start Patrick Mahomes. If you had Joe Flacco there with what we thought was a playoff team in Baltimore, and they eventually made the playoffs with Lamar Jackson, I wouldn't be saying start Lamar Jackson. But I look at last year, there's not that much difference in the year of 2025 of Jacoby Brissett and Russell Wilson. That's how far Russell Wilson has fallen. Yes, Russell Wilson's better than Jacoby Brissett, but my football team, if I go back and do it all over last year, I would have started Drake May week 1. There's not a guy on the Giants roster right now, Jameis Winston or Russell Wilson, you say, I got to start this guy. And Jaxson Dart has looked the part so far, and that's why I think he should be starting week 1. Let's hear from Mark Schlereth yesterday. This was a stink on with us. And I asked him, are the Giants making a mistake in starting Russell Wilson week 1?
Yes, 100%. I mean, why wait? You know what Russell Wilson is. You know what he does well. He throws the deep ball as well as anybody, and then he throws it outside the numbers. He doesn't throw it in the middle of the football field, never really has, takes way too many sacks, has always taken a ton of sacks. Like, ultimately, to me, the future's now go with the growing pains. Understand there's going to be growing pains along the way, but if he develops like what happened in Denver last year, you've solved your quarterback issue. Like, this is one of the biggest no-brainers in the world to me. So that's the guy I would start, but that's me.
And I agree with Mark Schlereth. It's pointless to start Russell Wilson at this stage of his career. Absolutely pointless. And I posted that clip on social media. I think people don't understand what clickbait is anymore because they got accused by a lot of Giants fans. Oh, that's clickbait. It's not. It's called a different opinion. It's not like I'm sitting there and saying, oh, start Jaxson Dart because I want Andrew Scarpacci to click and go, oh, you know what? I'm going to have rage. And I'm going to click on this video and then post it on my... No. I think if you understand the league and you see the last 2 years, Jaden Daniels and also C.J. Stroud, and I get those guys are second overall picks. Jaxson Dart was still a first rounder. Bo Nix, we thought the Broncos were a bottom 5 roster last year. Bo Nix was thrown right into the deep end and made the playoffs. So why can't the Giants do it this year? But I heard from a lot of Giants fans yesterday on Instagram and Twitter, especially Instagram. This offensive line sucks. There's no reason to start him. Let him learn. Did Jaden Daniels need to learn? Did Bo Nix need to learn? Did C.J. Stroud need to learn? No. They got thrown into the fire in less than ideal situations. Like, at least the Giants have Malik Neighbors. I know the Giants' offensive line stinks. But you look at the state of the Commanders, the Broncos, and the Texans before they got Jaden Daniels, C.J. Stroud, and Bo Nix, and they were unmitigated disasters. They were putrid. They were rancid. And what turned that organization around? A belief in the quarterback. So it's not that Jaxson Dart needs to sit there and soak up all the knowledge from Russell Wilson. It's not that Jaxson Dart needs to sit there and wait till week 8 or 9 to play. That's not what it is. Ultimately, it's going to be, can Jaxson Dart win over that locker room, and is Jaxson Dart someone that is good, that will send a feeling of excitement in that organization that the Giants haven't had in over a decade? Because if Jaxson Dart could do that, whether I think he can or not, and I'm not a big believer in Jaxson Dart, but I've seen enough so far in this preseason where I go, what's the other option? Why are you playing Russell Wilson? And I heard Giants fans go, oh, but they play the Commanders and they play the Cowboys the first 2 weeks of the season. Divisional games. Well, what are the Cowboys? The 85 Bears this year? And I think the Commanders are good. I believe in the Commanders quarterback. I love Jaden Daniels. But are the Commanders a lock to make the postseason once again this year? No. So I don't really see the argument outside of just fear and outside of this notion that I fell for last year with Drake May, why the Giants have to start Russell Wilson week 1. And that's my issue. 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. Do you think the Giants should start Jaxson Dart week 1? Start Dart. That's the business I'm in right now. Coming on back after these short messages on the Zach Gelb Show.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
This is the Zach Gelb Show.
You know, we have some listeners that really become leaders. Like I would say Daly is the leader of the YouTube chat. Psych Mampter, I think, is the leader of memes on social media. You know, Two-Tone Tony may be the leader in changing some water for stew, if you know what I'm saying. But I think the friend, like the leader of friendship on the Infinity Sports Network, is a man that I actually had a first interaction with 2 weeks ago when I was filling in for Maggie and Perloff, and I've heard his calls. You know, I like his life advice that he tries to bestow upon Manny Rodriguez, who needs some guidance, who needs some leadership. Everyone needs a friend. So let's go out to the guest line right now, 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476, the call-in line. And we have the Big Friendly, Mr. Big Friendly, the friend to all on the Infinity Sports Network, joining us right now. Big Friendly, how are you, my man?
Zackety doo-dah, zackety yay. Did you think you could run from Big Friendly from that conversation we started the other day? Good afternoon, my man. Thank you for taking my call.
Did I run from the conversation?
Nah, Magsy ended it.
Oh.
Real quick.
I was like, Big Friendly, I just gave you a nice introduction. I didn't think we had any smoke.
No, we got no smoke at all. I mean, I got some smoke if you're ever I got some smoke if you're ever in California. I got you. Nah, my man. I wanted to ask you an honest question because I didn't honestly get to ask you a question when we were discussing Jimmy G, and I understand, and every point you made was valid. Mm-hmm. But I look at this in a different light, and maybe I'm a Homer Simpson. Would you say that Kyle Shanahan, I can't keep a lead hand, is better at coaching than Sean McVay?
No. I think Sean McVay's a better coach.
So now here's my question, and I know if you got to go, I understand. Mm-hmm. So I understand what you said about Jimmy G and the overratedness, and some of those things were very valid, man. I'm not going to lie. But do you think that in certain situations that Sean McVay would put Jimmy G in better situations? And with that, Zachary Doodah, I'm stalking you now, my man. I got your channel, and I'm going to call back. You have a great day, my man.
You got it. Have a great rest of the week, Big Friendly, and I'll answer this call right now, or the question right now. So I do think Sean McVay is a better coach than Kyle Shanahan. However, is the difference that great where I think I'll see Jimmy G be that much better at an older state of his life and an older stage at his life with McVay if he gets the opportunity than what he would have done with Shanahan? I don't think so. I'm not a big fan of Jimmy G. I was annoyed for years when people were telling me, oh, he's going to take over for Tom Brady. Until Tom Brady said, hey, I don't want to be in New England anymore, Tom Brady still should have been the quarterback. And Bill Belichick, even though he was forced to, he had to trade Jimmy G. That was the right thing. Now, with that being said, Jimmy G did go on to San Francisco, got the opportunity, got that team to a Super Bowl, where he basically was playing the role of a game manager. And in the Super Bowl, when they had a lead, a 10-point lead up against the Chiefs, he got a ball batted down at the line of scrimmage, and then he also had a wide-open touchdown, and he overthrew Emmanuel Sanders. I think it was Emmanuel Sanders. So Jimmy G has been a quarterback who I think the situation makes him, number one. And then also, number two, a big thing is his injuries and his health have been a major problem. So do I think if Jimmy G gets thrown into the fire with the Rams, if Stafford, the back is no good, do I think Jimmy G could be competent? Yeah. Do I think the Rams, even with the coaching of Sean McVay, are winning a Super Bowl if Jimmy G is the quarterback for a long stretch and needs to be the quarterback in postseason? No. Because, yes, Sean McVay knows how to win the big game. Sean McVay has won a Super Bowl. Sean McVay has been to 2 Super Bowls. And even though Sean McVay is a better coach than Kyle Shanahan, it's not as if Shanahan isn't in striking distance of McVay where they could be cousins, right? Where they could be on similar levels, even though, okay, Sean McVay goes to the head of the table and Kyle Shanahan's sitting right next to him. So I don't think the coach makes that much of a difference. Like if you said, oh, Jimmy G was getting coached by, let me just think of a coach that's not that, Robert Saleh. Let's say Robert Saleh was the head coach of Jimmy G with the Jets, let's just say. And then you put Jimmy G with Sean McVay, I think it's totally different. But I think they're close enough, McVay and Shanahan, that if Jimmy G gets thrown into the fire in LA, am I expecting Jimmy G to do that much better than what he did in San Francisco? No, I do not, because say what you want about Jimmy G. He still got to a Super Bowl with the San Francisco 49ers. All righty, let's hear from our pal, the Snowman, Dion Dawkins. Dion Dawkins was talking about Keon Coleman, and he made it clear that Keon Coleman is going to have a breakout season this year. Here is Dion Dawkins.
I'm going to tell you the truth. It's night and day. It is night and day. Or a sunny day and a storm, if you want to put it in any way. Keon is not the same player from last year, so the league better get ready. He is not the same guy. As a teammate, I am so glad that he picked it up so early because he is not the same player. And I'm just glad that Josh has him as well as the Buffalo Bills because Keon has showed up in every bit of where we needed him to show up at, from training camp to being on time to checking in to dinner to checking in to lunch to being available. You know, he's been a fully changed Keon, and I'm happy to be his teammate and for him to just keep learning because he is going to be special, and he already is. He already is, but this is Keon's time, and you'll see it.
I do like what the Bills did slightly this offseason. Like, do they have a bona fide number one wide receiver on this team? No. If Khalil Shakir is healthy, he's good. I thought the move of bringing in Joshua Palmer was very smart, and I think he's going to impress people this year, but he's not a number one wide receiver. But you look at some of the draft picks that have been made by Brandon Beane, the 2 guys that really need to get their damn act together this year, Dalton Kincaid, who his first 2 years in the league has been severely disappointing. Like Dalton Kincaid, coming out of Utah, coached by Kyle Whittingham, was supposed to be a stud. He has not been a stud. This is a make-or-break year for Dalton Kincaid. And I look at Keon Coleman, a guy that you got in the second round. It was the first pick of the second round. He should have been a first rounder. I love what I saw out of him at Florida State. He has a great personality, but Keon Coleman is a guy that needs to start reaching his potential this year. Because if you go 2 years in the NFL and you were basically a first-round pick, even though he was the first pick in the second round, and your first 2 seasons are nothing all that impressive, people are out on you, and that's how the narratives are formed. So it's nice that Deion said this about his teammate, but I need to see Keon Coleman take it to that next level. And we know the straw that stirs the drink is Josh Allen. Josh Allen is the reason he won the MVP last year. You took out Stephon Diggs, didn't matter. Josh Allen was as good of a quarterback as there was in football last year. James Cook, you got the contract squared away. Ray Davis, good number 2 back. That wide receiving core isn't exceptional. Doesn't have guys that are going to, you look at, you go, oh, they blow you away. Khalil Shakir, good. Joshua Palmer, solid. I think underrated. But they really need Dalton Kincaid and Keon Coleman, who they used a first-round pick and a second-round pick on, to be the guys that they drafted them to be. So let's skip around the room here real quickly. And by the way, before we do this, Keon Coleman, one of the great lines ever. They were interviewing him in the pre-draft process, and they go, what do you do for fun? And he goes, I like to golf. He's like, I'm no Tiger Woods. I'm Tiger Wish He Could. I thought that was such a good line by one Keon Coleman. But Deion Dawkins expects Keon Coleman to have a breakout season. Let's skip around the room here. Samter, who do you think will have a breakout season this year in the NFL? Who's your guy?
I'm going to go with the guy that we all thought was going to be amazing last year, and he ended up being like the 4th best rookie wide receiver behind Brian Thomas Jr. and Malik Neighbors. Marvin Harrison Jr., he was fine. He was okay, but he wasn't considered a generational talent for no reason.
Yeah.
Right?
I thought he was, out of all those players in that draft, if you gave me one choice, say, Zach, who's going to go to the Hall of Fame out of all those players drafted, I said Marvin Harrison Jr. easily.
100%. And so for me, it just feels like there's nowhere for him to go but up. He has the pedigree. He has the history. He has the talent, the tools, everything. Just something didn't click last year. Maybe it was the offense. Maybe it was the quarterback. Maybe it was MHJ. But whatever it is, I think he's going to break out and be great this year.
Well, how many times did we say last year when Kyler Murray was playing, he missed Marvin Harrison Jr.? And I don't really want to use that as a complete excuse because, like, who did Malik Neighbors have throwing the football to him last year? And Malik Neighbors was amazing as a rookie. Brian Thomas Jr., I know he has Trevor Lawrence, but it's not as if Trevor Lawrence has been some stud in the NFL. So I look at it and I say, yes, part of it is on Kyler Murray, but Marvin Harrison Jr., you got your feet wet last year. You had 17 games played, 62 receptions for 885 yards and 8 touchdowns. I'm with you, Samter. I do think he takes his game to the next level this upcoming season. And I just want to double-check this. I wasn't expecting you to go with him, but it's a great one. But someone made this point to me, and I just want to see if it's true. His father, oh, wow, it's almost identical. Marvin Harrison Sr., who ended up is a Pro Football Hall of Famer, phenomenal wide receiver. You look back at his career, had over 1,100 catches in his career, nearly 1,500 yards in his career, or 15,000 yards in his career, and 128 receiving touchdowns. So Marvin Harrison Jr.'s first year, I just said 17 games played, 62 receptions, 885 yards, and 8 touchdowns. Marvin Harrison Sr.'s first year, 64 receptions, 838 yards, and 8 touchdowns. You know, it's kind of crazy. And yes, the trajectory, Marvin Harrison Sr. really didn't have a great season until 1999, so it took him some time. But you just wonder, okay, is he just a carbon cop? Like, is he just his dad? And that first year was a little underwhelming. I know it took Marvin Harrison Sr. a few more years after that, but maybe this is the year that he breaks out, and that's just the Harrison way right there. Scarpacci, who's your player that's going to have a breakout season this year?
So if I wanted to troll you, I would say Aaron Rodgers, but I'm going to go with Michael Penix Jr.
Timeout. How would Aaron Rodgers be trolled? The guy he has underwear older than you, Scarpacci. How would that be breaking out?
Well, considering how
the last 3 years have gone? Yeah. Okay. Maybe a comeback player. A breakout player to me means like you're a youngster. You know, like Pat Boyle, for example. Even though we're similar age, Pat, though, hasn't been a full-time host for a year. If someone said, oh, Pat Boyle is a breakout national radio full-time host, that would make sense. If I did breakout national radio host and then gave you Jim Rome or Rich Eisen, those guys have been around for 3,000 years. But I understand. You have a love affair with Aaron Rodgers. You and him probably do ayahuasca together. And you guys are insufferable with your fandom of Aaron Rodgers. But who's your guy, though?
I'm going to go Michael Penix Jr. of the Atlanta Falcons. He's proven at the college level he can win the big games. The talent was there. He's finally getting a shot this year. Falcons have a really young team. Drake London, Bijan Robinson, now add a young quarterback.
You got to call it correct.
Bijan.
Yeah, he changed the way you pronounce the name. It's not Bijan, it's Bijan, like Honey Dijon.
So I think they can all kind of develop together. Obviously, London and Robinson have played at a very high level as of recently, but I think you add Penix to that mix, and that can be not a team that can build together for a long, sustainable time. And considering that the Falcons have a much easier schedule than the Buccaneers, I'm not saying they win the division, but I think they have a shot considering the division's mediocre at best. So even if he can just play in a playoff game, that puts him at the stage.
Yeah, the three things that concern me with Michael Penix Jr. I'm not a big fan of Raheem Morris. Belichick should be coaching that team. Number two, he does have a health past. I know everyone looks at Washington and you go, oh, he was wonderful at Washington. Before that, Indiana, he was a walking injury. And then number three, someone pointed this out to me, and you saw it a little bit in the national championship game. Deep ball, arm strength is wonderful, but it's the middle throws. It's like the middle of the field, the shorter throws, where that's where he gets himself into some problems. You saw that in the Natty coming out of half, boom, and on one of those throws, he found Will Johnson, who played for Michigan, and it was an interception. That really changed the game and swung the pendulum totally back in the favor of Michigan. But, yeah, they need him to be all that this year, and he did give you some impressive moments in the last 4 games of the season when he did play. My player is going to be J.J. McCarthy. Kevin O'Connell used a first-round pick on J.J. McCarthy. Kevin O'Connell last year made Seeing Go Sam Darnold and Mono Sam look like a great quarterback and got him rewarded with a 3-year lucrative contract. And I understand Addison's out the first 3 games of the season. There's been some buzz that maybe the Vikings are trading for another wide receiver. Justin Jefferson's now back. You still got Aaron Jones. You got TJ Hawkinson. I think this is dummy-proof. I think J.J. McCarthy walks into this season with basically the bumpers up in the bowling lane. And this is designed for him to have a really good season, and a lot of people are negative. A lot of people are down and out on McCarthy. Oh, he got injured last year. Oh, he was a game manager at Michigan. Oh, he's not that good. Here's what I know about J.J. McCarthy. Dude's a winner. Was 27-1 at Michigan. And I think J.J. McCarthy is going to make a lot of people eat their words this year, and he's going to have a really good season for the Minnesota Vikings. Sanford, let me ask you this. And I know we got to take a break and get to Gordon Damer. Can McCarthy win Comeback Player of the Year? Can you never start a game in the NFL and win Comeback Player of the Year? Because this is not considered his rookie season. It's his second year in the NFL. McCarthy had the injury last year. If he balls out, it feels like it would be a Rookie of the Year, but he's not a rookie. Can he win Comeback Player of the Year this year?
I don't think so. I remember when let's see, it says the Comeback Player of the Year is to honor a player who has demonstrated resilience in the face of adversity by overcoming illness, physical injury, or other circumstances that led him to miss playing time at the previous season. So I guess, technically, yes.
Yeah.
I guess you don't have to have ever played, but it's hard to be called the Comeback Player of the Year when you haven't had anything to come back.
Hey, it came back from a knee injury, I guess.
Yeah.
And a bunch of criticism. Can anyone tell me in the room right now who won Comeback Player of the Year last year? Now, we were very much so involved when Joe Flacco came on this show and said he should not have won it, and he didn't want to win it, and then he ended up winning it, and he thought it should have gone to DeMar Hamlin. But Joe Flacco won the award 2 years ago. Does anyone know who won the Comeback Player of the Year award last year? Any guesses? Scarpacci, no. Sanford, no. Gordon, got a guess? All right.
Wasn't DeMar Hamlin or anything?
It was Joe Burrow.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, Joe Burrow, if he would have just made the playoffs last year, Joe Burrow would have won the MVP last year.
Oh, yeah.
But I was looking up Comeback Player of the Years. I'm like, who the heck won it last year? And it was Joe Burrow. You could have given me not 1,000 guesses. You could have given me 10 guesses. I would have never got that. All righty, we'll come on back. This is Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. Update time first. Here is Gordon Damer.
Infinity Sports Network. Sports Flash.
Zach, this Sports Flash sponsored by Progressive Commercial Insurance. Protects your small business with affordable coverage options. Quote today at progressivecommercial.com. Well, the Patriots set to play their preseason finale tonight. Go up against the Giants. Pats not expected to play most, if not all, of their starters. One player who's certainly not going to play tonight, second-year wide receiver Jalen Polk, out for the season, needs shoulder surgery, so he will miss the entire year. Lots of questions about the status of Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford. Sean McVay said today quarterback is practicing in full this week. That said, will not take part in the Rams preseason finale. Baseball scoreboard, no Shohei Ohtani for the Dodgers. Who needs him anyway? Dodgers lead the Rockies 3-1, top of the second. Brewers trying to snap a 3-game losing streak. They lead the Cubs at Wrigley 2-0, bottom 5. Royals a 4-1 lead on the Rangers in the 5th, and the A's all over the Twins 8-2. Yankees and Red Sox, they'll go at it again tonight. Those two teams battling for the top wild card in the American League. Golf first round of the Tour Championship. Justin Thomas in the lead at 6 under par. I'm Gordon Damer.
This is the Infinity Sports Network. Check out our new and improved website at infinitysportsnet.com. That's infinitysportsnet.com.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Time for your daily news brief. We get you caught up on the rumors, reports, and reconnaissance from the day in sports.
This portion of the show is sponsored by the Hyundai Getaway Sales Event going on now. Get deals so right, it almost feels wrong. Don't miss out. Visit your local Hyundai dealer today. Zach Gelb Show, Infinity Sports Network News Brief time. Let's go to Brian Schottenheimer on the Micah Parsons drama.
We feel like Mike is going to be out there when we can line up against Philadelphia here in 15 days or whatever it is. And, so, no, the answer is, yeah, I feel good about that, yeah.
Without a contract extension?
I feel good that Mike is going to be out there against the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, I don't know if Mike is going to get a new deal. I don't think he's going to hold out. But if he doesn't get a new deal, it'd be wildly entertaining if he did hold out and didn't show up for week one, especially that platform. Could be kind of that Chris Jones spot from a few years ago when the Chiefs were celebrating a Super Bowl and he was in the luxury box. And then the next day or shortly after that, he got a new deal. That would kind of be interesting if that's the way that Micah Parsons had handled if he doesn't get a new deal. Fox and Friends on Fox News had Jerry Jones on. And this is what Jerry Jones had to say about all the latest with Micah Parsons.
Mike is a great player, not a good player, but a great player. He knows more than anyone that it's a team thing. And so I know everybody's tired of hearing this, but you've got to put this puzzle together so that you can have some other people out there playing with Michael. That's the art of the deal, and that's why we're trying to get done. And we're trying to make this thing work. But we have all the appreciation in the world for what he can mean to the years ahead. We're proud to have him.
That's just got to be something when he speaks about Micah and then says his name again in the middle of a sentence. He calls him Michael. Because that's now twice that he's done that in interviews. Let's go to Shedeur Sanders. Do the Shedeur Sanders. Huh. He was asked about Dylan Gabriel's comments about entertainers and competitors. Go ahead here, Shedeur.
Honestly, I don't even think about nothing. I don't think about anything. If it's not words or anything, at this point, it can't do anything to me. I know, the God put the ability and the power within me to not even think about nobody else's comments, not care. It is what it is. I spoke with him. He said, nah, bro, that wasn't. He said, that wasn't. He told me on the plane. He came up. He was like, nah, bro, that wasn't at you. I see how they trying to spin. I'm like, oh, all right. I'm not tripping, regardless of whatever it was. Nobody's words or anything affects me, So, yeah.
So did you believe him when he told you it wasn't on you?
Did I believe him? I mean, I feel like you're trying to start stuff now.
No.
I feel like you're trying to start stuff. I mean, he's doing his job. He's supposed to. Do I feel like he did? I don't know. And that's not on me to sit here and be like, oh, he did, he didn't. That's not going to change my life in any way.
I'm listening to that answer. Shedeur thinks it's a shot at him. that back end, you're just trying to start things. It's smart of Shedeur to not say, yeah, I think it was a shot at me. But when I'm reading in between that and just listening to it, it sounds like he does think it's a shot at him. Let's go to Tom Pelissero, NFL Network. Are the Vikings interested in Adam Thielen? What does he have on that?
There are a bunch of wide receivers that are potentially available. The Vikings have been working the phones. There are several names that it could end up being, but one of them is somebody that Vikings fans know well, including you, Jamie, Adam Thielen in Carolina. But potentially, could they find a way to bring Thielen, the Minnesota native, back home? That is one of the names to keep an eye on here.
And let's hear Kevin O'Connell with Kay Adams on Up and Adams. How about the possibility of Adam Thielen going back to Minnesota? Cold like Minnesota.
What I want to see.
What do you want to see?
I want the local boy to come back.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'd like those Golden Gloves and that Detroit Lakes gentleman. What is that smile?
I would just
I'm
say.
just saying my wish list. I'd like a quick start. I think Adam Thielen coming home. I'm just your reaction to that. You're like,
This is the first I'm hearing of that idea.
Oh,
so
what do you think of that idea? I like the idea.
No, I love Adam Thielen. Talk about the 2022 year.
Yeah.
You don't build something from day one the way these guys did and the players did in year one without players like Adam Thielen on the team.
Coach, the fans want it.
Yeah, he's there's a reason why he's not only a Vikings favorite, the career he's had here, but how about the job he's done going down there with a bunch of young players? And I guarantee you that the Panthers are in a good place right now because of all that work Adam Thielen put in. So, huge fan of Adam Thielen.
That's something to monitor, because then if you get Addison back and you have Jefferson, Addison, Thielen, Hockenson, and Jones, that's fun. Final one, Jeremiah Smith. He does not like Michigan. Triple Option Podcast.
Hey, Jeremiah, when I say the team up north, what hits your heart?
Hate them. With everything in me, I hate them.
How did you learn that?
I hate them. You said when I learned that, high school recruiting. First came in, I think I made a mistake, and I was wearing like dark blue.
Uh-oh.
Oh, yeah, I was wearing dark. And it was Coach Hartline and Coach Keenan Bailey. And it was like, you can't wear them colors here. And then from that day forward, I was like, okay, yeah, it's real.
It's so weird because Ohio State could say whatever they want. They won the national championship, but they lost to Michigan for a fourth straight year. So it's always weird to me when the Ohio State folks start chirping about Michigan. And, hey, that's a player. It's different than when fans do it. And you should hate them, right? It's a rivalry, Michigan, Ohio State, all good if you have hatred for one another. But if I was a Ohio State player, I don't know how much I'm saying that. And I would just maybe do my talking if you could actually beat them this year. And that's how I would kind of do my talking, by having it shown on the field, not just having some Ohio State players afterwards crying because Michigan tried to plant a flag in the middle of the field after beating them for a fourth straight year. All right, it is Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. Not Michael Samter. He's Coach Mike Sanford. He's going to join us on the other side. We will talk some college football with him with Week 0 starting up this weekend. Coming on back, it is the Zach Gelb Show.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. 3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Infinity and beyond.
He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show.
Alrighty, rocking and rolling hour number 2 of our radio program. It is the Zach Gelb Show, coast to coast on the Infinity Sports Network. Coach Mike Sanford should be joining us momentarily, as we do have college football back starting this weekend with week 0 underway. The big game this weekend in Ireland, Dublin, Ireland, is Iowa State and Kansas State. And I'll tell you, as a college football fan, I'm really curious to see what happens in the Big 12 this year, because everyone's picking Arizona State, it feels like. And I could understand why. You get Jordan Tyson back, who was not a part of that playoff run last year because of the fact that he got hurt. And maybe that's the difference in them winning that game up against Texas, which they lost in a heartbreaker. And you look, even though Cam Scatteraboo is no longer there and he's in the NFL with the Giants, you have Sam Levitt back. And Kenny Dillingham is starting to become one of those hot names, young, up-and-coming coach in college football. And I understand he's only been at Arizona State for 2 years as their head football coach. But when you are a coach that took a program that was predicted to finish last in the Big 12 last year, and you win the conference, and you take them to the college football playoff, you had a really good showing up against Texas. It's one of those performances now where there's high expectations, and people now are expecting you not only to repeat, but maybe take it a step further. So it is easy to sit here and say, oh, Arizona State is going to win the Big 12. But there's a lot of other good teams in the Big 12. And the Big 12 each and every year, I feel as if we say there's 6 or 7 teams that could win it. But this year, the general feeling and the general census is that it is Arizona State's to lose. But if you sit here and tell me Kansas State with Chris Kleiman and Avery Johnson win it, can't be shocked by that one. If you tell me Kyle Whittingham, maybe this is the last year for him. They've already named the coach that's going to replace him. If this is a year where Kyle Whittingham has a bounce-back season from a disappointing year a year ago, I can't fault you there. Baylor with Sawyer Robertson, he's someone that I believe is going to be a really good quarterback, and you saw it at times last year. And Texas Tech with Joey McGuire has high expectations. So you look around the Big 12, it's easy to sit here and it's easy to say, oh, yeah, it's going to be Arizona State. But don't forget about Iowa State as well. And that's what makes this week 0. It's almost a perfect stage setter because the Big 12 is not the SEC. The Big 12 is not the Big 10. And when you have week 0, isolated spot, it's almost like a really good appetizer. But we're getting a top 25 matchup this weekend. 12 p.m. Eastern coming up on Saturday. I'm locked in to Iowa State and Kansas State, were 2 of the more underappreciated quarterbacks in the country, where we'll see Avery Johnson battle it out up against Rocco Becht. And, you know, Rocco Becht has the potential to be a first-round pick this year, especially with his lineage, and his dad being Anthony Becht, who was a first-round pick as a tight end all those years ago. So the Big 12, I'm fascinated by it. I think the Big 12, it's more open than what I think people believe. You look at the SEC, a lot of people will pick Texas. I don't think Texas is a lock to win the SEC. In the ACC, that's the conference that I feel like is the most lock, is that it's going to be Clemson. And then in the Big 10, there are some really strong teams. I do lean Penn State this year. So I'll run through it later on in the show. I will give you my 12 college football playoff teams. I will tell you who my Power 4 conference champs are, and I will give you a national championship game prediction as well. I'll also give you a Heisman Trophy pick in addition to that. But let's get to a college football fix. Do we not have it? Do we? Nope. Yep. Oh, nope. If not, you know what? Let's just do this. We don't need the imaging. All right, let's welcome in Coach Michael Sanford, who's kind enough to join us right now on the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network as we get set for week 0 in the college football season. Coach, always appreciate it. How are you?
I'm doing great, Zach. How are you doing, man? It's a great-looking throwback Patriots hat right there.
Yeah, no, I love Pat the Patriot and this whole logo and everything from way back in the day when I wasn't even alive. But listener Daryl sent it to me, so it's definitely a hat that I love rocking on the show. So I was just talking about it. Iowa State and Kansas State, I think it's a perfect start to the college football season. You look at the Big 12, a lot of people are going to tell me this is Arizona State's conference to lose, but there's a lot of other really good teams in the Big 12, and you got Rocco Becht and Avery Johnson to start things off in week 0. I'm all in because I think those are 2 of the more underappreciated quarterbacks probably in college football.
Yeah, Rocco Becht's the guy that I'm really excited to watch play this year. He played clean football down the stretch for Matt Campbell, and shocked to see that the Iowa State Cyclones are underdogs in this spot. At least the last time I checked it, it was round 2, 2-point dogs for the Clones. I think Rocco's got the full skill set. He's the type of player that he can take off and run. He can move the sticks that way, but judicious with the football, makes great decisions, and just has it. I hate to use that term because sometimes that gets encapsulated in oversimplified, but and he's just got the ability to make the right decision at the right time for his team. I like Iowa State this year. And there's been a lot of years where I thought Matt Campbell was and had a team that was highly overrated. I think this is going to be a really good team, and I believe it could end up being the class of the Big 12.
You know, you're now getting into this media world. You know, you'll say something 1 month, and then a few months later, it will change. Like when the Alabama quarterback competition started, I said, I want to see the youngster in Keelan Russell. And then as the summer did go on, I go, man, Ty Simpson could be really damn good, especially with Ryan Williams. And hey, it also helps when you have arguably the best defense in the country. So I look at Ty Simpson this year. What are your expectations for him? Because now, a few months ago, I wasn't taking the bait. Now I'm taking the bait, and I think he's going to be really special.
I sure hope so. I'm a guy that was a Northerner, a Yankee, coaching down in the South at Western Kentucky, and man, it's tough if you don't start off on the right foot. Like frankly, Kalen DeBoer did not. He didn't start off on the right foot. I do have my questions. So, I certainly for friends of mine that are on that staff down there, I'm rooting for them. But for whatever reason, I just am not buying stock right now in an SEC that is just absolutely ridiculously cutthroat. If you're not from it and you haven't cut your teeth in that league as a coach, that's one thing. Now, Ty Simpson, I think there's some positives to him as a player, but a lot of unknowns. And frankly, that's how I feel about a lot of the big name, high profile quarterbacks in this college class is that there's a lot of unknowns. You know, how is Garrett Nussmeier going to perform in real big spots? He wasn't really asked to perform in massive spots a year ago that were relevant at the end of the season. I think he's a really good player. I'm very, very unconvinced right now, and call me crazy, on Arch Manning. Like, what have you done as a passer when it matters? You're a good athlete. You come from great bloodlines. You're an awesome young man. Everything adds up. But to me, there are quite a few unknowns in this particular quarterback group. And that's why any NFL fans out there, I don't know that this is the right year to suck or tank it for a particular quarterback.
And also, you don't get a soft landing spot for I know it's not his first start, but your first season as the full starting quarterback at Texas. You have Arch Manning going up against another guy there's a lot of intrigue about in Julian Sayin. It's throw Arch and Julian right into the deep end. It's going to be fun coming up next week.
No, it sure will. Julian Sayin's so his high school head coach was my high school offensive coordinator about 30 years ago. So I know a lot about Julian. Julian's a guy that has the ability to command any offense that he runs and is a very, very clean passer of the football. But it's a different set of expectations, certainly at that level. So it's going to be fun to watch for sure.
Yeah, I'm also curious about Georgia this year because, right, they were the next Alabama, back-to-back national championships. And then the last 2 years, like, they haven't been bad, but they haven't won the national title. And Gunnar Stockton, right, got in at the end of the season after the injury to Carson Beck. They lost that playoff game to Notre Dame coming off a bye. Is Georgia your pick in the SEC, or are you going elsewhere?
Oh, man, I think it's going to be Georgia. Gunnar Stockton, he gave the optics and the feel of the quarterback that is going to be the tough guy in a Kirby Smart run football team. You almost need an overachiever, tough guy at the position. It's any like massively heralded Georgia quarterback just seems to not materialize. And that actually predates Kirby. It just seems like whenever there's somebody that's allegedly the next big thing. I remember Aaron Murray. There's been countless quarterbacks at Georgia that you thought were going to be the guy. And who's the greatest quarterback probably in recent Georgia history?
Stetson Bennett.
Amen. And so Gunnar Stockton to me feels the same way, that he's tough. He's going to move the sticks, and because of the talent pool that is on the defensive side of the ball for any Kirby Smart team, I think that he's going to be more than enough. He's a guy the last year I was all in on. Just they just fell a little bit short, and it was wild to watch him just physically run the football. I like that aspect of his game.
I've been extremely critical of this coach the last 3 years because he built up this program. He built up such a standard. And the last few years, he didn't always win the ACC, right? We saw Florida State. We saw Pitt win it. He won it last year. But Clemson hasn't been a national championship contender the last 3 years. This year, I think they are one of, if not the best team in the country. And I did my top 10 coaches rankings the other day. I put Dabo back in the number 1 spot. Are you buying in on Clemson this year with all the high expectations?
I am. I am, and I actually like the fact that Dabo, for the most part, stuck to his guns about let's not run this Clemson football program entirely different than how we've run our program for the last 10, 15 years that yielded national championships. He stuck to his guns about player development. For me, a guy that grew up in the coaching profession, namely the college coaching profession, I tip my cap to a guy like Dabo that even in spite of all of the national narratives surrounding like you're archaic, you're left in 2010, you'll never do it again. He stuck to his guns for the most part. And you know what else he did? He stuck to his quarterback. And that hasn't always been a popular decision, even with Cade Klubnik. I know he was a lot more appealing to a lot of the fan base at Clemson than DJ Uiagalelei, but he's been a really good revelation for that team. I don't know that Cade Klubnik's going to be truly a first-round talent at the quarterback position like a lot of people are saying, but I think he's exactly what the Clemson football team needs at the right time, and I am a believer in Clemson.
It's so funny because last year, all I was told is get ready for this upcoming draft class. And even this time last year, I was told, Carson Beck was going to be great. And we know how that story did pan on out. But this year, when I look at Cade Klubnik, and I've been saying this all throughout the offseason, do I think he has the highest ceiling of any quarterback in the country? No. But now in college football, especially in a 12-team format, with how much there's so much turnover on the roster, like Ohio State did not have a great regular season last year, and they were just a very good team, and they won the national championship with a ton of talent. And I think it's just who's going to be the most consistent. Like, you don't have to be the best. You just have to be the most consistent. And that's why I think a lot of people this year look at Cade Klubnik as the guy that's been the most consistent, and that's why they're going to put him as the top quarterback. Like, does a guy like DJ Lagway or Lenore Sellers have a higher ceiling? Yeah. Absolutely. But I think I just know now what I'm going to get from Klubnik night in and night out.
You bring up a great point right there that the national championship game last year came down to 2 quarterbacks that were really not in the discussion whatsoever about being first-round draft picks or second-round draft picks for that matter. But you know what the 2 of those guys were? They were tough. Mm-hmm. They were physically tough. They would put their body on the line on a third down. They were net positives in the running game as a QB-driven run type team. And nowadays, when you have the ability to have $25, $30 million rosters, do you need the shiny golden object in the quarterback position to win a national championship? I don't think so. In fact, to your point about Carson Beck, does some of that stuff come with some other baggage that's unintended when you do invest that much money in a superstar quarterback? And so I agree. Cade Klubnik, he fits the mold of a tough guy that will run the rock and he'll lay it on the line, and he's earned the respect from all of his teammates. So I agree with you on that you don't need the best quarterback in the country to win a title or even close to it.
When you look at Carson Beck, right, you had a kid that was all that, right? He was the guy supposed to be a number 1 pick, supposed to be a Heisman Trophy winner. Last year didn't go his way, had injuries. Now he's at Miami. When you have a kid that has suffered adversity, like what would you do? Take me through what Mario Cristobal and his staff is doing right now to get Carson back on track. Because I also wonder, it's a little like mental too, probably more so than if he has the physical tools.
Yeah, Zach. I mean, here's the thing. Carson Beck, for me, just as a guy that's coached the quarterback position and been involved with recruiting and evaluating the position. At the college level, I've coached guys like Andrew Luck and Jordan Love at Utah State, and Mike White, who was at Western Kentucky for me, one of the better G5 quarterbacks in the last 15 years. The one thing that I saw with Carson Beck that I just never liked, it's a physical issue, and he's just long in his throwing process. He's got a long, laborious throwing process, and at times I feel like he plays the game as just a bit of a slower twitch athlete. That's hard because, you know, what's the best thing for him to do? It's to get the heck out of the freaking SEC and go to a conference maybe where you can be maybe a millisecond late with the football, or you can have an extra 3 inches on your throwing process and your motion. So yeah, can Carson Beck have a good season this year for Miami? Yeah, he sure can. Is he a guy that I think is going to lead Miami to the promised land? No, they had a much better talent and a much more explosive player last year in Cam Ward. And frankly, they couldn't get really anything accomplished. Certainly beating the Syracuse Orangemen.
I'm the first one to slam James Franklin. Last year, I didn't think they lost that game up against Notre Dame because of James Franklin. It was Drew Aller. That's another guy that I'm told is supposed to be all that. Like he's a Walmart Josh Allen. Are you in on Penn State this year? Are you in on their quarterback in Drew Aller? One more go at it.
I'm actually in on Drew Aller. I had a chance to be cover for my alma mater, Boise State. I was at that Fiesta Bowl game, and I was really curious to just see what makes him tick, what kind of human being he was. And just being boots on the ground at media day and then watching him throw in pregame warmups, watching that game, he's got some very, very elite traits as a pure talent. Has he busted through that glass ceiling yet? Of winning really big games in big spots? No, he hasn't. Can he? Yeah. He's looked young, man. He looks like he reminds me of a young Josh Allen when he was at Wyoming. That you're like, gosh, this big, humongous, just piece of clay could be so unbelievably good. And it did take a lot of time with Josh Allen. Heck, it took time post-draft for Josh Allen. He never really materialized as a collegiate quarterback to the level that he certainly is at today. Drew Aller is actually from where my eyeballs are at in terms of first quarterback picked in this next draft. Drew Aller's the guy that I'm keeping a very close eye on.
Let me get your thoughts on two programs here and their quarterbacks, because we know a quarterback's best friends, great offensive lineman, and then also a great running back. Last year, Maddox Matson had the best running back in the country in Ashton Genty. Last year, Sam Levitt had the second best running back in Cam Scadaboo. Both those guys now in the NFL, Cam here in the swamps of Jersey and Ashton out in Las Vegas. How do you think Maddox Matson and Sam Levitt will do this year with more thrown on their plate?
Well, first off, Maddox Matson, really impressed with the young man. He's not going to wow you with his physical attributes. He's not, frankly, he's like 5'9.5". So he's a shorter quarterback.
But he's one of those tough SOBs that we're talking about.
That's what I'm talking about. He's got that. And the reality of Boise State, outside of the trip to Notre Dame, that's a really soft schedule. And that league right now is bad. That is a bad league. The Mountain West Conference, I can't stand on a table and claim that this is a competitive league on any group of five scale, to be frank. Sam Levitt, on the other hand, that's another one of these guys that I saw just enough. Like my top three favorite quarterbacks going into this season. Number one would be Rocco Becht, and I can't wait to see him on Saturday in Dublin. Number two would be Sam Levitt. Number three would be Drew Aller, and Drew Aller for the potential, right? Drew Aller because of what he can be. Sam Levitt's a creator. He's another tough dude. He's a great runner of the football. He's got great overall just situational feel, field space awareness. I'm buying stock on Sam Levitt, and yes, you're no longer with Cam Scadaboo, but I think Sam Levitt's going to have a heck of a year, and I think Arizona State's going to be a team to contend with. I'd love to see Arizona State, Iowa State at the end of it all.
Last thing that I'll ask you, Mike Sanford, just going back to what you said earlier about the questions and the skepticism that you have with Arch Manning. With all that being said, how do you think you're talking about Arch Manning at the end of this college football season?
Well, that's a great question. Man, I think it's going to be incomplete again. I think that he has enough physical attributes. He's not going to make too many critical errors, but is he going to win games against teams that are as talented as Texas is? That remains to be seen. The trait that we all keep seeing about Arch, which is a great trait, is that he's fast and can run. And he got some of the Cooper Manning receiver chops, but can he really sit in the pocket consistently, diagnose coverages, deliver the football on time, feel comfortable in the pocket in a league that has the pass rush that it does? That it remains to be seen. I actually believe what Archie Manning said, because I think Archie Manning does know best. He's going to need another year. This is a true first-time starter that has really been used almost as a gadget, kind of not really as a true quarterback in the system there. So there's nobody with more pressure on them this year in college football than Arch Manning. It's not even close.
Mike Sanford, coaching at Western Kentucky, also did coach at Colorado. Are you still coaching? What are these plays on Zoom that I see right behind you? You're coaching?
Yeah, so I am the head football coach, also in addition to doing media at Valor Christian High School in Colorado. And that's the alma mater. Our most famous alum is Christian McCaffrey, who recruited to play at Stanford when I was the running back coach there back in 2013. So full circle for me, opening game tomorrow night. A lot of fun.
Well, if Christian's a little busy and you need someone to do like a pump-up speech, I'd be happy to fly out there and do a little pump-up speech and get everyone going. I'd be like a good on-the-line kind of coach and get everyone running gassers. That's what I'd do.
Hey, you should come on out, man. It's televised in 8 states. Our opening game tomorrow down in Colorado Springs on Altitude TV. So I appreciate you, Zach.
Well, stop talking to me. Get back to work. All right, there
No
he is,
doubt.
Coach Mike Sanford. We appreciate it, Coach.
Appreciate you.
There you go. Mike Sanford joining us on the show. We'll take a break. We'll come on back after these short messages.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. 30 seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to the Zach Gelb Show.
All righty, this is Zach Gelb Show, coast to coast on the Infinity Sports Network, 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. We know that Joe Flacco is starting in Cleveland. We do not know who's going to be quarterback 2 or 3, or maybe it's going to be quarterback 2, 3, 4, because there's a chance they keep all 4 of these quarterbacks in Shedeur Sanders and Joe Flacco, in Dylan Gabriel, and also Kenny Pickett. Let's go to our Kenny Pickett expert. That is Chris in California. Next up on the show. Chris, what's happening, my man? Good to hear from you. It's been a while.
Hey, what's going on, Zach? How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. What do you got on your mind? I know your guy didn't win the quarterback competition out in Cleveland.
No, he is clearly 110% better than any of those quarterbacks on that roster. He was gypped out of the starting role.
How is he gypped out of the starting role?
False injury.
You don't think it was a legit injury?
No, it's not, because I don't see how it could be when, you know what? Because he had this run that looked, dude, he was looking faster than I've ever seen him. He was burning people down in the secondary during a scrimmage, and all of a sudden he has this hamstring strain, and not only that, he had it before Gabriel did, but Gabriel was able to go ahead and practice before him. Dude, I think his whole career has been fishy. Not under his circumstances, but just other people's circumstances around him.
Wait, Chris, let me just interrupt you real quickly. So the Browns, who their preference, and I was told all offseason long, they wanted Kenny Pickett to win the job. You think that this hamstring injury is a fugazi fake hamstring injury and that the Browns are sabotaging Kenny Pickett, and that's why he's still out 100%. And he's not going to play for the preseason?
100%. Just like he was just like he was a scapegoat to the Pittsburgh Steelers and Mike Tomlin, and he was forced to sit behind Jalen Hurts, knowing I know for a fact.
Guy won a Super Bowl MVP.
I know for a fact. What are you gonna cut me off? I know for a fact that he's better than Jalen Hurts, but hey,
wait, you think Kenny Pickett's better than Jalen Hurts?
He is, but that's a take for another day. He is. I feel like
based off what?
The present.
Wait, no. Answer the question. Based off how is Kenny Pickett better than Jalen Hurts? When has ever Kenny Pickett been better than Jalen Hurts?
It's the body of work, bro. I could just see it.
What
he has
body
the
of work?
mobility. He has the pocket presence. He can read a defense. All Jalen Hurts has to do is he has to rely on A.J. Brown doing his job, and he's just going to toss it, whether it's a quick slant, whether it's a comeback route, a 50-50 ball. He's just depending on A.J. Brown, his best friend.
Yeah, because he doesn't run or anything like that.
To bail him out of any type of situation. Along with Devontae Smith, the whole Philadelphia Eagles team was built around Jalen Hurts. You know, he's been catered to more than anybody in the NFL. But okay, like I said, that's a topic for another day.
Wait, can I just ask? I want to ask a few questions on that.
I'm focused on right now.
Chris, I'm going to let you finish. Chris, so zip it for a second. I'm going to let you. I have to ask you a question here. So you think Kenny Pickett is better than Jalen Hurts? Let me just ask.
I do.
Just give me a yes or a no. Has Kenny Pickett ever been a Heisman?
I'll go to my grave saying that, but
just be quiet for a second. Just answer yes or no. Has Kenny Pickett ever been a Heisman Trophy finalist?
Yeah, he was a Heisman with Bryce Young.
Okay. Was he? He was the ACC Player of the Year. Was he a Heisman Trophy finalist?
He was. He was with Bryce Young, Aiden Hutchinson, and C.J. Stroud. There was 4 of them.
Okay. Has Kenny Pickett ever started in the Super Bowl?
No, you're just trying to plead your case, but dude, I've done my research. I'm not oblivious to the
2021 he
situation.
was. You're right. Now he was ACC Player of the Year. He had a very good year that year at Pitt. Did he win the award though?
Yeah, he.
Neither
No,
did Jalen Hurts. I'm messing with you.
Okay, so but the thing is, bro, he's been screwed out his entire career. I'm fighting for this guy only for the simple fact is
How has he been
I
screwed
can relate.
though? That's the part I don't get. You keep on saying that. How has he been screwed?
Because who throws somebody in? Like, okay, so everybody's fighting for Shadur Sanders. Start him week 1. Don't sabotage his rookie career. Did you not follow Pickett's rookie career where he was thrown into the fire week 4
Wait,
at
no,
halftime?
people want Shador to play.
Dude, I want Pickett to play. He's been in the league for 4 years now, and he's been effed over for I don't know how long now.
But that's the thing.
Okay,
I
so
understand.
Tell me this, Zach. Zach, tell me this.
Yeah.
Tell me how Jalen Hurts has got Nick Sirianni demoted.
Huh?
Yeah, he got him demoted. He was the play caller originally, but we kept asking for them to run the ball. Run the ball. Who asks somebody to run the ball if you have a quarterback that can throw the ball? You don't ask your offense to do that. So we kept telling.
Now, there could be two different things. You could love Kenny Pickett, but your hatred of Jalen Hurts makes zero sense.
I'm
Jalen
trying
Hurts
to
has outplayed
put-
Patrick Mahomes twice in a Super Bowl. You know that, right?
Oh my God! With one of the
has.
best offensive lines and one of the top playmakers in the NFL, it's just a complete joke. It's a joke.
Well,
it's a complete joke.
Did you see that one pass
he's
Kenny
surrounded
Pickett
by
threw last year when he had that same team?
Elite players.
Did you see that one pass Kenny Pickett threw like into the ground last year when he was on that same team?
The presence of Kenny Pickett forced and allowed us to win that Super Bowl. He was intimidated. He was intimidated by the pressure behind him.
You're not serious. You're not serious.
No, I'm dead serious.
You
I'm dead
smoking
serious,
pot
bro.
today? Well, what drugs you doing?
No. Well, let me just tell you this. Free Kenny Pickett from the Cleveland Browns because, again, his career is being sabotaged.
So where is he
kept
going?
Being held hostage. Let's go to L.A., bro. I'll support him. I'm here in California. I'll support him.
The Rams?
All day, every day. Yes.
To be a backup again?
Dude, Matthew Stafford is a hit away from being out. He's not going to be there next season.
You'd rather have Kenny
Matthew
Pickett
Stafford-
over Jimmy G? I don't even
Hell
like
yeah.
Jimmy
What the
G,
hell?
but I'd
What the
rather
hell,
have Jimmy G
Jimmy G?
over Kenny Pickett.
No. Jimmy G is he's an average to below average backup quarterback.
So what's Kenny Pickett?
He's a starter in the NFL that's
But he's not.
given the opportunity. But he
not.
is. Because Kevin Stefanski's a coward and he has no spine to go
The
ahead
guy's
and
hurt.
and
The guy's
no,
hurt.
he's not.
He is.
I don't know this for a fact, but I can pretty much put my life on it that he's not hurt, bro. He's not.
Okay, so why would he play a part of this? Why would Kenny Pickett go through this if he was
He has
getting
no
sabotaged?
choice, bro. I work for a
Stop.
company right now. They can tell me to do whatever it is that they want me to do. The
Stop.
NFL is bigger than one player, bro.
Okay.
The NFL is bigger than one
Chris,
player.
Chris, sometimes you just got to
Just
know
like
when to
you
take
can hang
the
up
L.
on me right now.
But I'm not.
Just like you can hang
But
up
I'm
on me right
not.
now. No, but
I'm not.
I have very little control of what you could do.
I'm
Just like he
letting
has
you
very
go.
little.
Just like how the
I understand
just like how
that,
the
but
Browns,
what I'm
just like
saying
how the
is
Browns let
there's
Kenny
very
Pickett go, and it
little-
wasn't good enough.
There's very little he could do in the NFL. Roger Goodell is a coward. He's a straight coward. Why does he get booed every draft? Because he's a coward.
Because that's what they do to every commissioner. I don't like Goodell, but you're making a point about Kenny Pickett. You're so bent out of shape that Kenny Pickett's not starting that you're blaming Roger Goodell. You're blaming
Because he started
a fake
he started
injury.
this narrative about his hand size, bro. Who's in control of the
That
NFL?
wasn't
Who
Roger
has,
Goodell. What are you talking
well,
about?
it was somebody
a
that he had
measurement.
ties with. It was somebody he had ties with. Who started this hand size thing, bro? Didn't
Who
Joe
was
Burrow
it?
have small
Who
hands?
was it?
Didn't Michael?
Who
I
was
don't know.
it?
I have no idea. But I know someone started this narrative of his small hands.
Chris,
if you could throw the frickin' ball, you could throw the frickin'
Can
ball.
I let you
dude.
in on a little
if you
secret?
could get the ball,
Can I let you in on a secret? Kenny Pickett's
there's
not
collusion going on.
Kenny Pickett's not worth it to have collusion and sabotage. You know that, right?
Yes. No. No,
you do.
he is, bro.
Thank you. We agree on something now.
No, I don't agree with you.
Why
what
not?
I'm saying is,
you think this is
because I don't
collusion
agree
and
with
sabotage?
Dude, if you could throw the freaking ball and you can run to get a first down, like, dude, what matters does it of its hand size? Like, what does it matter?
Yeah, but you're not making any sense right now. Like,
What do you mean I'm not making any sense? Does he not have a winning record? Did he not? If Devontae Smith didn't drop that ball, wouldn't he have gone 2-0 as an Eagles starter? Like, come on now, bro.
Can I just ask you this? You understand how hard it is for teams to identify quarterbacks in the NFL and have successful quarterbacks? If Kenny Pickett was all that, you think 32 teams would collude against Kenny Pickett to not allow him a chance to start?
I'm not saying he's the only one. I'm not saying he's the only one, but he's the one I've been following, and I know for a fact that it is happening.
All righty, Chris. Well, I'm hanging up on you now because just like Kenny Pickett, this time
it.
has run its course.
Cleveland, release our trade Kenny Pickett, please. Do me the freaking favor. I'm tired of it.
And you know what happens when you release or trade him? He'll be a backup quarterback somewhere else.
No, he's not going to be.
Okay,
Stop
where's
the
he going to
collusion.
start? Where's he
Roger
going to
Goodell.
start? Yeah. Chris, what's your last name? Just wondering.
It doesn't even matter.
Is it Pickett?
It's Chris from California, from Southern California. Your
last
the
name's
Washington
Pickett.
Commander.
Your last name's Pickett, isn't it?
No, it's not. But you know the Washington Commander starter, Jaden Daniels. I'm from his area, so you could go ahead and do your Google research. Go ahead, do it.
Well, so I could grow up next to someone. Oh, he hung up. Got pressed him with a few questions. He hung up. I don't know. There's got to be some relationship there. Roger Goodell's sitting on 345 Park Avenue right now, sitting at his desk. How can we collude against Kenny Pickett? We don't want him in the league. Those small hands, we don't want him. So I got to sit here, and I got to put him on the roster. And I'm going to tell Kevin Stefanski, when the Browns haven't had a quarterback in a long, long time, you're going to go through with this fake injury. Yeah, that's what's happening right now. I always say, Chris is wildly entertaining, but it's amazing how he gets like last year he said Kenny Pickett's going to usurp Jalen Hurts. Then he calls in and he apologized to Jalen Hurts after Jalen Hurts won the Super Bowl MVP. Then he wasted about 10 minutes of our time right there just bashing Jalen Hurts when Jalen Hurts won a Super Bowl MVP. And now we're at a point where it's collusion. It's not collusion, Chris. It's delusion from you. Like, eventually, you could love a quarterback, and he's just not that guy. And that's where we're here right now. Kenny Pickett was in Pittsburgh, was in Philly, and was in Cleveland. And wasn't good enough. And the irony of this is I've had some conversations with Kenny Pickett. I like Kenny Pickett. But Chris in California makes me want to root against Kenny Pickett. You know what? I'll text the commissioner, Roger Goodell. Hey, commish, I know you got a lot of things going on. Are you guys colluding against Kenny Pickett? Oh, yeah. Oh, my goodness gracious. That's really something. So, Kenny Pickett, he was a Heisman Trophy finalist. So was Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts has made the college football playoff multiple times. Kenny Pickett has not. Jalen Hurts has made 2 Super Bowls as a starting quarterback. The only time Kenny Pickett got to a Super Bowl was because he was Jalen Hurts' backup. And Jalen Hurts has outplayed Patrick Mahomes twice in a big game. And therefore, the Eagles were wrong putting Jalen Hurts there in front of Kenny Pickett. And then the Cleveland Browns, who there's a famous meme of a guy with the shirt that has 9,000 quarterbacks on it. The Cleveland Browns are in a position to collude against Kenny Pickett. This microphone's on, right? Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. Sam, they're like, can you come into the studio and just pinch me? I'm not dreaming. I'm not in a nightmare.
No, thank you.
Like, this is real life, right?
I mean, this is real life, but Chris in California is not real.
I'm going to pinch myself here.
Chris in California is not real. Either A, he's the most delusional person in the history of sports, or he's just a troll.
I think we're on to something.
There's no way.
Because when I asked him, is your last name Pickett? He didn't give me his last name, and he's like, you could Google me, bro. I'm from the same area Jaden Daniels is from. So, like, I don't know. It seems like there's some relationship here. But this guy, he calls every show. And he was on, like, Zach Gelb Load Management for a while because he was calling all the other shows. And anytime I hear Chris in California's on the line, Kenny Pickett, Slobber. Kenny Pickett. That's basically what Chris in California does. He's got to be a relative. Or maybe Chris in California just has small hands. Maybe that's what it is. But I find it funny how he kept on saying, don't hang up on me, don't hang up on me. And then he was the one that hung up when we pressed him just a little bit. So we're going to put our investigation team out there. Sherlock Samter, he's going to be on the case. We're going to see if he finds out any info on Chris. Update time first. I'm actually embarrassed right now. We have a true professional broadcaster in the studio, Gordon Damer.
Oh, I thought you were talking about somebody else.
And Gordon had to be subjected to that hogwash, to that jackassery. So let's get some Marconi's back. Let's get some broadcasting decorum back. And here is Gordon Damer with an award-winning Infinity Sports Network Sports Flash.
Infinity Sports Network Sports Flash.
I just hope Kenny Pickett likes it. Final week of the NFL preseason tonight, Zach. Patriots-Giants might be the last time we see rookie Jaxson Dart for a little bit. Despite the number one pick playing impressively so far, head coach Brian Daboll maintained Russell Wilson will be the Giants' starting quarterback. Panthers-Steelers tonight, big season for second-year head coach Dave Canales, who has no issue with a bit of a heated moment at the end of practice.
They just kind of are in a competitive moment. Tempers flared. We try to push the guys to the edge. We went a little bit over. But at the same time, that's the edginess we have to play with. When we have these opportunities, we have to be able to play a physical style of football. And sometimes it goes a little too far.
Meanwhile, afternoon baseball scoreboard. Brewers trying to snap a 3-game losing skid, lead the Cubs 4-1 in the 8th at Wrigley. Also, Mets, a leadoff home run from Francisco Lindor, now a 2-0 lead on the Nationals as they play in the third. Golf, first round of the Tour Championship, 4-way tie for the lead at 6 under. Justin Thomas is 1 back, 6 others, 2 off the lead. In that pack, Scotty Scheffler and Rory McIlroy. I'm Gordon Damer.
The Infinity Sports Network is on your smart speaker. All you have to say is, play Infinity Sports Network. That's it. Play Infinity Sports Network. The fun continues on the Infinity Sports Network.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
You're listening to the Zach Gelb Show.
Hey, I need some soft serve ice cream if I'm just being honest with you guys. Like, my head really hurts after hearing that Chris in California call. Like, I think two things about it. Either he's related to Kenny Pickett or he's just trolling us. But if he's just trolling us, the commitment to the bit is at a different level. And I don't think he's really trolling us because he calls so many shows. He's called Maggie and Perloff. He's called Rich Eisen. He's called Shep. He's called me 3,000 times. He's called Bart Winkler. Like, he calls everyone. And you got to have something better to do if you're just trolling to that level. And this has now been a 3-year thing. So I don't think it's a troll. I think there's some personal connection with Kenny Pickett. I think he's related to KP, if I'm just being honest. And I'm not talking about Chris Persianen who works here. 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. Let's go to Anthony in Myrtle Beach next up on the show. Anthony, what's happening?
Gentlemen, how are we?
I'm doing all right. I need a beer, honestly, after that phone call. Or maybe some Casamigos tequila.
Yeah, why not? Line them up, knock them back. Let's do it.
What's on your mind, Ed?
That was probably the funniest thing I've heard in a long time. I was hysterical laughing for 20 minutes straight.
Well, here's the thing that makes it so funny. If he was just going to call in and say, oh, Kenny Pickett's getting screwed out of the Cleveland Browns quarterback job, all right. But the level that he went to in that phone call, to still claim that Jalen Hurts isn't the better quarterback over Kenny Pickett is laughable. Then it went to the Browns are making up his hamstring injury. Then it went to Roger Goodell started the small hands narrative about Kenny, and there's NFL collusion. That's why I said to him eventually, it's not collusion. it's delusion because Kenny Pickett, who is a nice guy, I've met Kenny before. I saw him at UFC this summer. We tried to get him on the show. I have nothing against Kenny Pickett. You know, he had a nice career in college, ended up being a Heisman Trophy finalist, which I forgot about. And he was the ACC Player of the Year, which I knew that part. But the idea that the NFL would collude against Kenny Pickett, that's one where I go, okay, Chris in California is either a relative of him or he has this sick obsession and then he just needs he needs to seek some help, Ant.
Well, he's very committed, and I applaud that. But I took it upon myself, and I did a little research on your pal over there. And indeed, he's from Fontana, California, and I also assumed that his last name was Pickett, but unfortunately it's not, and I'm not going to say his real name.
How did you
that's
find
why
all
he
this
doesn't want
stuff
all the
already?
hate mail. Well, I got connections. I can't disclose that, but, we make things happen. That's right.
All right, Ant. I'm never going to be disrespectful to you because God knows that you'll dig up on me.
No, man, I'm your friend. I'm here for you. Anything you need, just holler at your boy. I got you.
You're in the circle of trust. Ant, you're in the Zach Gelb Show circle of trust. You have a great day. There he is, Anthony in Myrtle Beach, who's a private investigator, I guess. I may have to call him Bo Deedle. Hey, Bo, got a guy, Chris, in California. I just need some information. No, I don't need, his address. I don't need Chris in California's cell phone number. I don't need to know Chris in California's age. I just need to know, maybe you put one of those boards up with all the strings and the photos. I just need to, Santa used to do Maggie and Perloff. You guys always had those boards up. And it looked like it was trying to figure out who the criminal is. I'm just going to put a photo up of Chris. We'll call up Bo Deedle. And we'll have Bo Deedle just try to figure out if he's related or what's the relationship to Kenny Pickett. Oh, my God. Listen, he's just done 2 segments on this. 2 segments. You in or out on Chris in California?
I've been out on Chris in California for a year.
The producers have been out on him. There's one other producer at this network. Anytime he calls in, he called me and he goes, I can't do Chris in California anymore. He just, I can't listen to him anymore. That producer, he may be someone that's an expert at drops. Does that tell you who that is? The guy's an expert at drops.
Like drop passes?
No. Like drops on the board. Very good with the drops.
I have no idea.
You don't know? I think he's pound for pound the best drop guy that we got at the network.
Carlos Ortiz.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. That's my guy.
What it is. Carlos one day, he thinks I care. It was 12:45 a.m. He goes, I heard Chris in California called you. Oh, I can't stand that guy. I'm done with him. I'm like, Carlos, it's 12:45 a.m. Thursday into Friday. Number 1, you woke me up. Number 2, I don't care about Chris in California at 12:45 a.m. 3 to 6 p.m. Eastern. I don't care about it. 12:45 a.m.? No, not me. We'll do onside, offside next. My college football predictions coming up at 5:20 p.m. Eastern time.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. 3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
To infinity and beyond.
He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show. Here's your host, Zach Gelb.
Alrighty, hour number 3 of our radio program. We'll get to onside, offside in just a second. But Samter, I think this is going to creep you out. I really do. I have one more thing with Kenny Pickett from Chris in California's call. And this will not be 3 straight Kenny Pickett segments breaking down Chris in California's call, like the full segment. I will only go 2-3 minutes on this max, and then we will keep it moving. So, you know, sometimes your phone listens to you or your computer listens to you and you'll talk about something and then something will then 3 seconds later pop up in your algorithm, right? I kid you not, on Twitter right now, from FanDuel via our pal Andrew Filipponi, ranking every team's QB2. This is a graphic. So the best backup quarterbacks in the NFL. If Chris in California is still listening, Chris, do me a favor. If you're driving, slowly pull over safely. If you're standing up in the comfort of your home, sit down on a couch and do me a favor, Chris in California. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. One more time. Breathe in. Breathe out. Samter, take a guess here. 32 backup quarterbacks they ranked in the NFL. What number do you think Kenny Pickett is, according to FanDuel, ranking every team's backup quarterbacks?
See, normally I would put him low, and based on how you're saying it with the deep breaths, I'm assuming he's going to be very low. But you think about his pedigree and the fact that he has won. There's some really bad backup quarterbacks out there, like Jarrett Stidham and Jimmy Garoppolo and just all these other.
I think Jimmy G's a good backup quarterback.
It's fine. I would probably put Kenny Pickett probably in the top 10.
Just give me a number.
Let's go 10.
10. Number 1 on this list, Kirk Cousins. Number 2 on this list, Jaxson Dart. Number 3, Jimmy Garoppolo.
Not even Jameis? Wow.
Number 3, Jimmy Garoppolo. Number 4, Marcus Mariota. Number 5, Jake Browning. Number 6, Anthony Richardson. Number 7, Mac Jones. Number 8, Andy Dandy Dalton. Number 9, Sam Howell. Number 10, Drew Lock. Number 11, Cooper Rush. Number 12, Joe Milton. Number 13, Taylor Heineke. Taylor Ham Heineke. Forgot about him. Number 14, Jacoby Brissett. Number 15, Malik Willis. Number 16, Tyrod Taylor. Number 17, Aiden O'Connell. Number 18, Gardner Minshew. Number 19, Hendon Hooker. This one's going to really annoy Chris. Number 20, Tanner McKee. Number 21, Tyson Bagent. Number 22, Kenny Pickett. FanDuel, ranking backup quarterbacks. I agree, but it is hysterical that this, I go to break, boom. The fact that FanDuel even ranked the backup quarterbacks is crazy, but it comes up into my algorithm after we just had one of the dumbest and craziest phone calls that I've ever taken in the history of this network. That's something.
So before you had seen this list, where would you, I
would say like 8, 7.
Yeah, and like you look at that list.
It's not crazy.
There's definitely 8 to 10 guys I would put ahead of Kenny Pickett, but most of those guys I'm not putting ahead of Kenny Pickett.
The guys that were behind Kenny Pickett: Zach Wilson, his mother's on line 1, Mason Rudolph, Jarrett Stidham, Davis Mills, Joshua Dobbs, Mitch Trubisky, Nick Mullins, Kyle Trask, Tyler Shuck, I guess they're already considering him a backup, and Brandon Allen. Okay, I told you I'd do a few minutes on this. We're going to keep it moving. That's what we do on this show. It is the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. I will give you my college football playoff predictions, my Power 4 conference champs, and my national championship game prediction coming up 15 minutes from now. But first up, we got to get to a little onside, offside. Scarpacci, hit it!
Zach's taking on the most polarizing issues in sports. Which side of the line of scrimmage will he end up on?
Offside. Defense number 69.
It's Onsides, Offsides with Zach Gelb.
Coach Mike Sanford, not to be confused with Coach Mike Sanford. What do we got cooking today, Coach?
All right, well, we actually led the show with this, and I'm telling you, every single time, I'm listening back to that interview, every time you said Coach Mike Sanford, I thought you were saying my name. It's so close.
Sanford's like, me? I'm coaching now?
Wow. Why is Zach having a conversation with me while he has a guest on the line? That's so weird. Mm-hmm. Now, we got 2 preseason games coming up tonight, starting off with the Giants against your ugly, disgusting, gross Patriots. Yesterday, Mark Schlereth joined the show.
I don't know what's more pathetic. Chris in California's love for Kenny Pickett, or Samter just having real estate owned in his cabeza all the time from the New England Patriots.
I mean, I'm staring at Patriot Pat right across the glass from me. How could I not have Patriots on my mind?
A listener A sane listener sent me this.
Yeah, but of course it's going to be on my mind. I'm staring at a picture of him all day long, and they're playing tonight.
Yeah.
But
You'll
anyway,
root for them probably next week as the 7,000 teams that you root for. But anyway.
The Lions, the Cardinals, the Chiefs, the Jets. I got a wall this year.
Yeah.
Now, our guy Mark Schlereth joined the show and was flabbergasted when you were asked why the Giants are starting Russ and not Dart, and he was asked if he thinks it's a mistake to start Russ over Dart.
Yes, 100%. Why wait? You know what Russell Wilson is. You know what he does well. He throws the deep ball as well as anybody, and then he throws it outside the numbers. He doesn't throw it in the middle of the football field, never really has, takes way too many sacks, has always taken a ton of sacks. Ultimately, to me, the future's now go with the growing pains. Understand there's going to be growing pains along the way, but if he develops like what happened in Denver last year, you've solved your quarterback issue. This is one of the biggest no-brainers in the world to me. So that's the guy I would start, but that's me.
Onside, offside, Dart will be starting by week 8.
That's a good question. My gut tells me yes. And I made a prediction on when Jaxson Dart was actually going to be starting. And now I'm looking back at it. It was week 10 at Chicago. The schedule for the Giants to start: Commanders, Cowboys, Chiefs, Chargers, Saints. That's a potential spot. Eagles, Broncos, Eagles, Niners. I think he should be. But I'm going to stick with that prediction that it won't be until week 10, even though I would start in week 1. So you asked me, Dart will, not should, will be starting by week 8. I'm going to say offside, and a big reason because of that, I think Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen, whose jobs are on the line, they want to wait to just give a little slice of Jaxson Dart to try to create some optimism, assuming that the Giants are going to be really bad this year and try to save face. So I'm going to say offside, that he will. Offside! When you ask me, will he be starting by week 8? Next question.
Now, the other preseason game tonight tilts the Steelers against the Panthers. But one thing you know is that Aaron Rodgers will not be playing for Pittsburgh. Rodgers has only been with the team since June, so barely 2 months, and missed most of the offseason program, has not taken a single preseason game action snap. Onside, offside, the Steelers are making a mistake not getting Rodgers any game action before week 1.
If Rodgers was a youngster like Scarpacci tried to paint him out to be earlier, that he was going to be a breakout star this year, he's 41. He turns 42 in December. Does Aaron Rodgers need to be playing in preseason games? No, he does not. I think Aaron Rodgers is washed anyway. He'll have some good moments this year, but it'll be more bad than good. So you ask me, the Steelers are making a mistake not getting Rodgers any game action before week 1. Hey, they gave him some preseason time with the Jets, and he was a disaster. So I don't think it really matters. I'm going offside.
Offside. All right, now the Vikings are looking for a wide receiver to go along with Justin Jefferson after finding out their number 2, Jordan Addison, will be suspended for the first 3 games of the season. Yesterday, Tom Pelissero threw out an interesting name.
There are a bunch of wide receivers that are potentially available. The Vikings have been working the phones. There are several names that it could end up being, but one of them is somebody that Vikings fans know well, including you, Jamie, Adam Thielen in Carolina. But potentially, could they find a way to bring Thielen, the Minnesota native, back home? That is one of the names to keep an eye on here.
And then today, Kay Adams went straight to the source and asked Kevin O'Connell about it.
What I want to see.
What do you want to see?
I want the local boy to come back.
Yeah?
Local boy.
Like those Golden Gloves and that Detroit Lakes gentleman. What is that smile?
I would just
I'm
say...
just saying my wish list. I'd like a quick start. I think Adam Thielen coming home. I'm just your reaction to that. Like,
This is the first I'm hearing of that idea.
Oh,
so that's,
what do you think of that idea? I like the idea.
no,
a little depth,
I love Adam Thielen.
Now, the 2-time Pro Bowler left in 2023 and at 34 has been pretty effective for the Panthers with over 1,000 yards in 2023 and 600 yards in just 10 games last year. He has some injuries, of course. Now, onside, offside, Adam Thielen can still be an impact player in Minnesota if they were to make the move.
Onsides, because he'd be a number 2 to start the season. Addison comes back, then he would be thrown into that kind of number 3 position. You just said it. You look at when he last played a full season in Carolina with basically no quarterback. He had 103 receptions for over 1,014 yards, over 1,000 yards, and 4 touchdowns. Last year in 10 games, 48 receptions, 615 yards, and 5 touchdowns. Those are good numbers. So you're not asking to be number one. So when you ask me that Thielen could still be an impact player in Minnesota, cold like Minnesota, I will say on sides.
Now, after Adam Schefter predicted doom and gloom in Dallas over the Micah Parsons contract drama, a few comments out of Jerry's world might lead to some optimism. First, head coach Brian Schottenheimer made a surprise prediction about Micah in Week 1.
We feel like Micah's going to be out there when we can line up against Philadelphia here in 15 days or whatever it is. And, so no, the answer is, yeah, I feel good about that, yeah.
Without a contract extension?
I feel good that Mike is going to be out there against the Philadelphia Eagles.
Then Jerry himself seemed to soften his message in an interview with Fox and Friends.
Mike is a great player, not a good player, but a great player. He knows more than anyone that it's a team thing. And so I know everybody's tired of hearing this, but you've got to put this puzzle together so that you can have some other people out there playing with Michael. That's the art of the deal, and that's why we're trying to get done. And we're trying to make this thing work. But we have all the appreciation in the world for what he can mean to the years ahead. We're proud to have him.
Do you know what the question was there?
The question was, how are contract negotiations going? You know what? For the first time, Jerry seems to say something positive about Micah, not about his injury
Baby
history. So at least it's the first step. Onside, offside, barring injury, because we don't know about that. Micah will play every game for the Dallas Cowboys in 2025.
So if he's just healthy, you're asking me?
Correct.
Yeah, on sides. I don't think he's going to miss games. I think the only way he misses games is if he's hurt. So on sides.
And you don't think he's going to get traded?
No, I don't think he's going to get traded. I know they opened up the season with the Eagles primetime spot, could do the Chris Jones kind of thing and sit out. Yeah, I guess. I don't think he's going to do so, though.
Okay, now believe it or not, we get real football this weekend with a small slate of college football Week 0 games headlined by two ranked Big 12 teams in Kansas State and Iowa State. The Wildcats are led by former five-star recruit quarterback Avery Johnson, who threw for 2,700 yards, 25 touchdowns, and 10 picks, while rushing for another 600 yards and 7 TDs. The Cyclones roll out junior Rocco Becht, who was a Heisman candidate at some point last year, and of course he's the son of former first-round pick NFL tight end Anthony Becht. Onside, offside, you have more faith in Becht in this game than you do Johnson.
I think they're both kind of similar. I think they're both underrated quarterbacks. I believe in terms of the next level, people think more highly of Rocco Becht than Avery Johnson. So I have slightly more faith in Rocco Becht than Avery Johnson, so I'll go on sides.
Now, storming the field has long been a college football tradition, but lately it's turned into a deeper issue as fans and players have gotten involved in scuffles on the field, some fans even getting knocked over in the skirmish. While Arkansas has a solution, it seems, potentially. They will allow fans to run onto the field after a big win, but only after a 3-minute delay, so players and coaches have time to get off the field safely. Onside, offside, the 3-minute delay rule won't work with the rowdy college students.
I will say, so I've been in position to storm twice. I successfully stormed Michigan, Ohio State when Michigan beat Ohio State, and that was very peaceful. Security was all on board with it. It was all good. Then Temple, I was a student broadcaster, so people were storming, and I was like, okay, I could if I wanted to, but I'm also calling the game, so that would have been tough to do on the radio. But that would have been very student broadcaster-y. Oh, we're storming the court. And that was when Temple beat, I think it was Kansas? I think it was Kansas they beat when I was in college. But security said no, and people stopped. They didn't do it. I actually think this thing, even though I'm not a fan of it at first, could you imagine the 3 minutes if everyone's on board with it and you're just chanting, going nuts, and they're like, you can storm. And the next thing you know, everyone just floods. So the 3-minute delay rule won't work with rowdy college students. I think college students are afraid. So I actually think it will work because you're giving them what they want at the end of the day. So I see both sides of it, but I'll go offside in this particular scenario.
Offside. I just wonder with the emotion and the alcohol running through their veins if they'll be able to hold back for 3 minutes. And if they do hold back for 3 minutes, will it still have the same effect?
Just let them storm.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I just don't want the players to get hurt because now these players are worth millions of dollars. The last thing you want, not that they weren't worth value before, but now they're worth more than that.
All right, let's go one more here.
All right, now Oklahoma has struggled the past few years, finishing 13th in the SEC in their first year with the conference. Now, BetOnline.ag released its list of coaches most likely to be fired, with Sooners' Brent Venables second on the list at 6-1, behind only Arizona's Brett Brennan, and ahead of VTech's Brent Pry and Arkansas's Sam Pittman at 7-1. Onside, offside, this will be Venables' last season in Norman, Oklahoma.
He just signed a 6-year extension back in 2024. I think he's going to have another year left in him at least. I do. So this will be Venables' last season in Norman. I'm going to go offside on that one.
Offside.
All right, it is Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. We do have some breaking news. This was speculated earlier in the day. Now it is official. According to On3 Sports, the SEC is moving to a 9-game conference football schedule starting in 2026. The league has now officially announced it. So now, like the Ryan Hickeys of the world that were bitching and complaining about the SEC, which I never really cared about this, 8, 9 conference games, whatever. All these schools have cupcakes. Like Hickey's like, oh, it's about time the SEC is going to play big boy football. I'm like, have you seen Penn State's schedule to open up the season? And they play 9 league conference games. But Penn State's schedule to open the season, Nevada, Florida International, and Villanova. So, like, let's pump the brakes there. But I think this is good. Now, if I was running college football, this is what I would say. Hey, SEC, you got to 9 games. Good. Now, the ACC for years said, we'll go to 9 if the SEC does it. I think the ACC will also follow suit. But if I'm the ACC and the Big 12, and if I'm the SEC and the Big 10, this is what I would do. I would say, guys, we're all going 9, and then the SEC will play the Big 10, everyone's schedule, 1 game a year. The ACC will play the Big 12, 1 game on the schedule, you know, all throughout the conferences. And that's how I would do it. And then you have 2 cupcake games. So, like, for example, on the Big 10, 9 Big 10 games, 1 game up against the SEC, 2 cupcakes. If I'm the ACC, 9 conference games, 1 against the Big 12, 2 cupcakes. That's what I would like to see moving forward. All righty, we will take a break. We will come on back, and we have Week 0 starting up this weekend. So I will give you the 12 teams that I have making the college football playoff. I will give you a national championship prediction, and then we will go around the room, and we will do Heisman Trophy predictions, and I will tell you someone I'm confident to win the Heisman Trophy, and then someone who I think will end up being a dark horse. We'll do all that when we come on back.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
This is the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network.
So just one follow-up. I told you that the SEC has announced that starting in 2026, the league is moving to a 9-game conference football schedule. I just said if I was running college football, here's what I would do. Big Ten and SEC both play 9 conference games. Then you have one Big Ten up against SEC game as a part of your 12, and then 2 cupcakes. And I even said for the Big 12 and the ACC, 9 conference games, 1 Big 12 up against ACC game, and then 2 cupcakes. Well, here's another thing that the SEC announced in part of going to 9 conference games, because there's still 3 games remaining. SEC teams are now required to schedule at least 1 additional high-quality non-conference game from the Atlantic Coast, Big 10 or Big 12 conferences or Notre Dame each season. So I'll give credit here to the SEC because they were fighting, which got passed the other day, to have the committee's standard and the criteria for the college football playoff to emphasize more strength of schedule. So a lot of people said, oh, just play 9 conference games. All right, so they did that. And not only did they do that, they then also boost their strength of schedule even more moving forward by saying, instead of just going 9 conference games and then 3 games against, like, let's say, Furman, let's say, sorry to do this, Villanova, and then Middle Tennessee State. Citadel, that's a good one. Coastal Carolina, right? Like just some of the schools that you throw out there. Charlotte. Instead of just doing that as your next 3, they're now saying, okay, we'll only have 2 cupcakes. We'll also have to schedule 1 ACC Big 10 or Big 12 game or Notre Dame. That's satisfactory to me. All righty, time to make some college football predictions with week 0 starting on up. Alrighty, I will do my Power 4 conference champs. ACC, Clemson. SEC. It's funny when you do this. All summer long, I said I'm going to take Georgia. Georgia. Today, when I had to put pen to paper, or my fingers to the keyboard, I took the bait. I went with Hook'em. Went with the Longhorns. Big Ten. Wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it. Penn State.
What?
Yeah, I'm going Penn State.
Gross.
And then the Big 12. Everyone's telling me Arizona State, Arizona State, Arizona State, Arizona State. You want me to go forks up here? Put your fork down. I'm actually taking Kansas State with one of the more underrated coaches in the country in Chris Kleiman. And I think they'll actually lose week 0, but I have them still winning the Big 12. So my Power 4 conference champions, Clemson, Kansas State, Texas, and Penn State. Now, with the way that the new playoff format is structured, even though it's still 12 teams, it's not the highest ranked conference champions getting the bye. So here are my 4 buys in the college football playoff. Texas will be number 1. Penn State will be number 2. Clemson will be number 3. And then in at number 4, I will go with my first non-conference champion getting a bye. Give me Alabama. So I take Alabama with the 4th spot. So now I have spots 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. In at number 5, Ohio State. In at number 6, the Georgia Bulldogs. In at number 7, Ryan Hickey and Stu Kovacs, Notre Dame Fighting Irish. In at number 8, quack, 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 Mr. Ducksworth. I go with the Ducks of Oregon. I then take my Big 12 champion, Kansas State, in at 9. And then here was the tough part. So I knew I'd need to have a G5 school. So I did put Boise State in at 12. But then I had 2 spots left. I thought about Michigan. I thought, okay, maybe LSU with the Tiger family. Do I go another Big 12 team? Do I go another ACC team? We saw 2 ACC teams in last year, SMU and also Clemson. But for my 10th spot, I went back to the well with the Big 10 team. And I went with Illinois. Luke Altmaier is back at quarterback. You also do have Brett Bielema, a tremendous coach. But here was the difference for me. Like, I don't know if Illinois is the 4th best team in the Big 10. But with that being said, I took a glance at their schedule. Western Illinois. They play a good Duke team. They play Western Michigan. They play Indiana. I think Indiana takes a step back. USC, Purdue, Ohio State, Washington, Rutgers, Maryland, Wisconsin, Northwestern. I could see that being a 10-2 football team. So I look at Illinois, who last year was 10 wins. They're trying to have their first back-to-back 10-win season in program history. I think they're going to get that. I think they're going to be 10-2, and I think they're going to be in the college football playoff as a 10th seed. Now, Samter, don't cry. I know I didn't pick Arizona State to win the Big 12. I think Arizona State's going to lose in the Big 12 championship game. The committee won't hold that against them. I have Arizona State in at 11 and Boise State 12. So my 4 buys, Texas, Penn State, Clemson, Alabama, in that order, 1, 2, 3, 4. First round matchup, 5th seed Ohio State up against 12th seed Boise State. 6th seed Georgia up against 11th seed Arizona State. 7th seed Notre Dame up against 10th seed Illinois. And then 8th seed Oregon up against the 9th seeded Kansas State. Now, and I get to my national championship prediction. I think we're seeing, it's weird to call it a throwback, but I guess we're at that stage at this point. We're seeing a national championship game that we've seen many times before. I'm going Clemson in the national championship game up against Alabama. And I'm saying this is the year of redemption for Kalen DeBoer. 2 years ago was in the national championship game, lost to Michigan as the head coach of Washington last year. Once he defeated Georgia in late September, everyone's saying, wow, Alabama, Kalen DeBoer could be the coach of the year, and Jalen Milroe could be a national champion. Jalen Milroe could go on to be a Heisman Trophy winner. Ty Simpson will be better than Jalen Milroe. Ryan Williams back for another year, and they have arguably the best defense in the country. I'm taking in the national championship game, Alabama to defeat Clemson. So my 12 college football playoff teams, Texas, Penn State, Clemson, Alabama, Ohio State, Georgia, Notre Dame, Oregon, Kansas State, Illinois, Arizona State, and Boise State. And my national championship game, Alabama, taking care of business up against the Tigers of Clemson. We can fade down the music, and let's do this. We'll go around the room right here. Heisman Trophy. Now, I am a Heisman Trophy voter. I think right now I have 4 names that if the Heisman Trophy were handed out tomorrow, we didn't see any football, I would rank these 4 names in some order, 1, 2, 3, 4, as the guys that I think are most likely to win the Heisman Trophy. I will not give you those 4 names first because I want to go around the room here and see what you guys have to say. So, Samter, we'll do this as someone that you're confident in to win the Heisman, and that's someone that's going to be a dark horse. So give me your name that you're confident in that could win the Heisman Trophy this year.
I mean, this feels kind of like low-hanging fruit, but Cade Klubnik over at Clemson. Not only is he considered a very good quarterback and potentially the #1 overall pick, he's coached by Dabo Swinney, who has a track record with quarterbacks all around college football and the NFL. He has the experience winning the ACC championship game last year, going into the college football playoff. And then, as we know, the ACC schedule is not going to be the most difficult thing in the world. He's going to put up numbers. He's going to do well. The defense for Clemson is a monster. So he's not going to have to be airing it out all game long. It's going to be a steady version of strong defense, running the ball, and just enough of Cade Klubnik where they're going to be just so good. It's going to be impossible for him not to impress and get his name up there. It's just a matter of whether or not somebody else in like the Big Ten or the SEC launches themselves over them because of the stiffer competition.
I'm going to go, and it's rare that we don't have a quarterback win it. I know last year we had Travis Hunter. I thought it should have been Ashton Genty. I'm going to take the best player in college football. And it's actually scary that this guy can be better. But I made this point before about like Lamar Jackson and about Patrick Mahomes and even Josh Allen when they were like years ago. I said they're going to get even better, and it's scary with what they've already done. Last year in his rookie season, his freshman season, Jeremiah Smith had 76 receptions for 1,315 yards and 15 touchdowns. I think Jeremiah Smith is going to be a Heisman Trophy finalist, and right now Jeremiah Smith is my pick to win the Heisman Trophy. Scarpacci, who's your pick to win the Heisman Trophy?
I'm going to go Arch Manning. He's on one of the best teams in college football. He's got a chance to shine. The spotlight's going to be on him, not just because of his name, but because of where Texas is expected to be. And like you said, I think if he can win the SEC, dominate, win a lot of big games, close games, have some highlight moments, I think it should be clear-cut at Arch Manning if they do win the SEC.
So I think the 4 hot names for the Heisman Trophy: Cade Klubnik, Arch Manning, who I did have on that, Jeremiah Smith, who was my pick, and then also the Notre Dame running back, Jeremiah Love. Jeremiah Love last year, yes, he was the lead back at Notre Dame, but he could have gotten more carries last year, and he also had some health issues too. But Jeremiah Love last year had 163 carries for 1,125 yards and 17 rushing touchdowns. Think about that for just a second. So, those are the 4 hot names to me: Jeremiah Love, Jeremiah Smith, Cade Klubnik, and Arch Manning. Now let's go a dark horse. A name that's not one of those hot names that you go, maybe I could see that guy winning the Heisman Trophy. Samter, who do you got?
Well, I'm going to go with somebody that a guest earlier on the show just ripped apart and said that he can't survive in the SEC because he's too long and his motion is too long, and that's Carson Beck.
Who goes to the ACC now, yeah.
Yeah, and so like I look at Carson Beck. This guy obviously had the talent to be a high-level recruit, to be considered the #1 overall potential pick, to be considered a Heisman favorite before the season last year. And he goes to a Miami team that has an open offense that turned Cam Ward into incarnate word, to Washington State, to Heisman hopeful, to #1 overall pick. Mario Cristobal does well with quarterbacks. The ACC's, the defense isn't the most difficult. I think Carson Beck is going to take advantage of the new conference, take advantage of Cristobal's offense at Miami and the talent they have there, and he's going to have a really good year. One of those guys who clearly has the name and the talent to kind of surprise some people. I don't know if he's gonna, but I wouldn't be shocked if it happened.
Scarpacci, who's your dark horse?
So I was going to go Jeremiah Love. He's currently ranked 16th on the Heisman Trophy list, but I'm going to change that to Gunnar Stockton.
Ooh.
I think mostly because Georgia, in past years, they were that dominant team that won every game year after year, but now they're not in that conversation of guaranteed, they're going to win, how far they're going to get. So I think the fact that they're sort of an underdog, pun on the Bulldogs, if they can come back and obviously they should make the national playoff, but if he has a really great regular season, kind of leads the way, it's going to be his first year starting every game, seeing what he has to offer, and if he does lead them to victory most of the time, I think that could be a good shot.
Scarpacci, I feel like you could work in a restaurant for some reason. I don't know why. Like when Dave Portnoy does these pizza reviews, there's always like a character behind the counter that's like, serving up the pizzas or, doing whatever. I feel like you could be one of those characters.
Closest thing I had was a snack counter at a bowling alley. But we
really?
did make pizza there too.
Yeah. I my first job, I was in high school. I cooked burgers at Five Guys. So that was an experience. My under-the-radar name for the Heisman Trophy, dark horse, Ty Simpson at Alabama. Just won the job, has Ryan Williams. I know one of the running backs got hurt. Alabama always finds a way to have a good offensive line. That defense is going to put the offense in a position to succeed because that defense is going to be one of, if not the best units in the country. And you have Kalen DeBoer, who had Michael Penix Jr. as a Heisman Trophy finalist, as his career was not going in the right direction. Then they had 2 really good years with Michael Penix Jr. I'm going to go Ty Simpson as my dark horse for the Heisman Trophy. Okay, take a break. We'll come on back. We got to play you what Urban Meyer had to say about Jim Harbaugh. When we return, update time first. Here he is, Gordon Damer.
Infinity Sports Network. Sports Flash.
Zach, 2 preseason games on the schedule tonight. First up, Steelers-Panthers. So Mike Tomlin, who are we going to see tonight?
There's really 4 guys that I'm not considering playing. Cam, TJ, Aaron, and DK. Everyone else is under consideration. They're preparing as if they're going to play. There are a lot of variables in it, who's playing for Carolina and things of that nature that might provide worthy competition.
Giants-Patriots also on tap. New England wide receiver Jalen Polk. He'll miss the entire year because of shoulder surgery. Baseball, Brewers snapped their 3-game losing skid, beat the Cubs at Wrigley 4-1. Bryce Terang, 2-run home run there. No Shohei Ohtani. No problem for the Dodgers. They lead the Rockies now 8-3 as they play in the 7th. Freddie Freeman, home run number 16. Mets a 3-1 lead on the Nationals in the 5th. Mets start the day 1 game up on the Reds for the final NL wild card. And golf, first round of the Tour Championship. And the story there, Russell Henley, a 9-under 61. He leads. 6 others, 3 back, including, of course, Scotty Scheffler. I'm Gordon Damer.
This is the Infinity Sports Network. Check out our new and improved website at infinitysportsnet.com. That's infinitysportsnet.com. You're in the right place. The Infinity Sports Network.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. 3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Hey, this is Howie. And this is Nick. We're from the Backstreet Boys. And you're listening to the Zach Gelb Show. And guess what? Zach is back. All right.
He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show.
Oh my God, we're back again.
All righty, wrapping up shop. It is the Zach Gelb Show right here on the Infinity Sports Network. Let me real quickly tell you about my friends at Wesley Financial. This portion of the show is brought to you by Wesley Financial. Stuck in a timeshare and want out? Contact Wesley Financial Group now and get a free timeshare exit information kit at wesleyfinancialgroup.com. Urban Meyer, I actually heard him with Ken Carman and Anthony Lima. And I will say this, Urban Meyer, he did this 20-minute interview with them today. And when he got talking about Jim Harbaugh, I thought it was fascinating because he made it clear he doesn't hang out with Jim Harbaugh. He's never had. like some functions that they've been out, but they're clearly not friends. And now, like, we live in this world, everyone's got to be nice to each other. Like LeBron James, right? Does he have a rival? LeBron James, I know this is weird to bring up LeBron, but it's part of this conversation. He tries to be friends with everybody. I like a guy like Urban Meyer that kind of made it known with Anthony Lineman and Ken Carmen today. We all knew this. They don't really like Jim Harbaugh. Like, he has respect for him, but they don't really like him. So anyway, it wasn't all negative about Jim Harbaugh. Like, he praised, like, his background and obviously winning a national championship and all that stuff. But then Urban Meyer was on his own podcast, a Triple Option podcast, and Urban Meyer said that the NFL, right? Jim Harbaugh got a show cause from college football, and that's the only punitive action. He just can't coach college for, 10 years or whatever it is. And Urban Meyer said, based off previous precedent, like with what happened with Jim Tressel, that he actually believes that the NFL should step in and they should suspend the head coach of the Chargers, already been there for a year as their head coach in Jim Harbaugh. I saw the headline. I wanted to wait to hear it on the show. Let me hear what Urban Meyer had to say about Jim Harbaugh.
There's an elephant in the room here, boys, though, that no one's talking about. When Jim Tressel was fired at Ohio State and he was given a suspension, Roger Goodell, commissioner of the National Football League, came out and said that we're going to honor that we're going to honor that suspension. And you remember he went to the Indianapolis Colts to work in the replay room or something. The Colts, because of the respect they had for the NCAA and the suspension, do you realize suspended Jim Tressel? So he was unable to perform his duties for the first 6 games of the year for the Indianapolis Colts. I think we all know the answer.
Yeah.
Any chance that Roger Goodell and the NFL? Of course not.
So here's what I don't get. I understand, right, Mr. Ohio State, Urban Meyer. And I always find it funny when Urban Meyer is now trying to demand punishment and demand people being held accountable and be the guy that's leading this charge. Oh, well, it happened to Jim Tressel. He had to serve a suspension. So now it should happen to Jim Harbaugh, even though Jim Harbaugh is no longer coaching in college. And now Jim Harbaugh has been back in the NFL for a year. Like, let's be real about Urban Meyer. He's had a lot of scandals before in the past as well. I always find it ironic that this is the guy now that's leading the charge. And I understand his voice is very powerful still in college football. He's an all-time great coach. He won 2 national championships at Florida, won a national championship at Ohio State. If his team wasn't banned from the postseason, probably would have won another national championship at Ohio State. But it's always funny to me when Jim Tressel is on his, Urban Meyer is on his high horse here. And he's the one kind of lecturing and trying to dictate and trying to implement punishment. Here's been my thing, though. Just because it happened in the past, just because there's been previous precedent, doesn't mean it still needs to apply in the year of 2025. And this is what I wouldn't get. Why would the NFL give a flying crap if Jim Harbaugh got caught up in some overrated entire sign-stealing scandal that's been blown out of proportion? Why would the NFL harm their product now in the year of 2025 after the guy's already coached a year in the NFL, has already been away from the college game for over a year? Why would Roger Goodell now, just because he did so years ago, be like, oh, we got to suspend Jim Harbaugh for, 5 or 6 games? Makes no sense to me. So Urban Meyer could use his platform wherever he wants. Urban Meyer, who's now all about accountability and let's enforce the rules, he could sit there and Urban Meyer could say Jim Harbaugh should be suspended, even though he doesn't think it's going to happen. He said it's not going to happen. But why would the NFL give a flying you-know-what bleep about what happened in college over an entire scandal that I don't think really impacted Michigan's, that really impacted the way that people think it did? Like Michigan, when everyone knew what was going on, Michigan still beat Penn State. They still beat Ohio State. They still beat Alabama, and they still beat Washington. Like, that's to me, Mike, I don't know if you agree or disagree with this. Should the NFL step in here? Should Roger Goodell step in and be like, oh, after he's already coached a year back in the NFL, Jim Harbaugh, because we did so with Jim Tressel years ago, when, let me remind you, Jim Tressel was a consultant for the Indianapolis Colts. He wasn't a head coach. So it's almost like you could step in and make it like you're leading a charge and you're really sticking it to Jim Tressel. And it was ridiculous back then, and it's ridiculous. It would be ridiculous now if they did it. Let me be completely clear. But he's a consultant. If Jim Tressel was the head coach, are they doing that? I don't think so. So do you think that Roger Goodell should be like, oh, let me hold Jim Harbaugh accountable and let me suspend him now? Should the NFL care about what happens in college and now try to seek a punitive action because it's one of their guys now in the NFL for something that had nothing to do when Jim Harbaugh was a NFL head coach?
It's a slippery slope, and I was having a long argument with the Hickey Hex on this. So,
well, he just hates Michigan.
Yeah. But for me, I look at it like this. The NFL doesn't have a responsibility to uphold it, but the NFL benefits off of college football, and whatever happens in college football impacts the NFL indirectly. And it just feels like such a cop-out that you can do something illegal in college and then just, like, move to the NFL, get a job there.
Pete Carroll?
Pete Carroll was another one who should have gotten, I think, a punishment of some sort. It's like getting arrested in New York and then moving to Connecticut, and now all charges are dropped because, like, oh, I'm not in New York anymore. I can go visit New York, but since I don't live in New York, I no longer, like, he can go back to Ann Arbor, he can go hang out there, he can do whatever he wants. There's nothing that happened. He cheated, left the sport, and now nothing happened. So the NFL does have a vested interest in college and the integrity of its own game. And so if they're hiring guys who are known cheaters or have been accused of or been punished for cheating or allegedly, whatever it is, like, there should be some accountability. Maybe not like a 6-game suspension, but there should be some accountability.
Well, here's the thing. I think the most comparable thing to this was something else that was overblown. I know it's going to be, I'm wearing a Patriot hat, so it's not going to come off well. But Spygate, like, Bill Belichick didn't serve a game suspension for Spygate. This is similar with the sign stealing, so why should he have to serve a suspension in the NFL? That would be my retort to Urban Meyer, and I wonder how quickly he would backpedal on that because he's buddies with Bill Belichick.
Outside of Sean Payton and Bountygate, have there been coaches suspended for these kinds of...
Sean Payton, yeah.
Aside from Sean Payton, I can't think of... You're right, Belichick had...
Head coaches we're talking about.
Right, but, Belichick was connected to multiple different cheating scandals and didn't get pinched, so it's interesting.
And I would also ask Urban, how about all those players that you had at Florida that did some things? Like, should we now punish them when they go to the NFL? Like, what are we doing here? All righty, that will do it for the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. I'll be back on Monday. We're here 5 days next week, getting you ready for the college football season. We'll react to the Week 0 games and then get you set for true Week 1. Scarpacci, thank you. Samter, thank you. Gordon Damer, thank you. Most importantly, thank you to each and every one of you. And also big thanks to my guest, Michael Sanford, who joined us earlier. We'll talk to you on Monday at 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific time. We out. Bye-bye. Peace.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining.